man. Bam, we're live. No guest. Where's the guest? No guest. God, I watched so many videos from this guest yesterday. Oh, there he is. I love it. God, this guy's got some great info. This is going to be fun, guys.
Good morning, everybody.
Nick, what's up, dude?
Just preparing for Thanksgiving, really. So,
just another Thanksgiving rolling on. I'm Sevon. Good to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, I've heard you're actually from Santa Cruz, was where my grandmother grew up at. Small world.
Oh, no kidding. Born and raised here?
She was born in Los Banos, but moved there as a kid.
Gotcha.
And we still do our family reunions every year up there.
You like it here?
I like to visit.
Yeah. Where's home for you, Nick?
Orange County, California.
Oh, okay. Okay. I go down to is Newport Orange County?
Yeah, that's where I live.
Okay. I like to go down every once in a while. I go down there, and a couple times a year I go down there and vacation down there. Great beach. Awesome beach.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know Anomaly? He's got a big YouTube station. He's a rapper. He does a lot of political commentary.
No.
Long-haired guy. Got a huge Instagram following. Oh.
No, I've never heard of him.
You guys would probably have a great conversation. He's down there. He's got a great following, great crowd, great community around him. It gives tons of like just really truthful info. Doesn't really fall on one side or the other of politics, but just is like just trying to get to the truth.
Yeah, I'll have to look him up.
Yeah. Hey, I watched a lot of Nicholas Pardini videos yesterday. Wow, dude, you have great information. Thank you for what you're doing.
You're welcome.
Hey, there may be some questions I ask you that you just, because as I'm watching your videos, I'm thinking of all these questions I want to ask you. So I don't mean to like put you on the spot or anything, but there's just things that I think that people need to hear. So I'll just fire them off at you. Are you a consultant? Your day job is you're a consultant to help tell people where to put their money so it sleeps best at night?
I'm a partner at a wealth management firm called Spearhead Advisors.
Okay.
Based here in Newport Beach, California.
And there's a lot of money in Newport.
Yeah.
And wealth management, can you tell me what that means?
Basically, if you are somebody who's a high net worth individual or somebody who's rapidly on their way to becoming one, you could, in theory, do all of your investments yourself, but your time is best spent pursuing your career or making the money. My job is really to prevent you from moving down the class ladder and to also allocate your money in a way that will be most suited to your long-term goals and preserve your purchasing power. Let me just, sorry, I'm a little bit, I'll put this there into words, but yeah, that's kind of what I do, is that like if you have a sum of money and you have a certain goal that you need help with, whether it's you want to grow a certain amount, you want to preserve your capital, you want to you have a concentrated position and you want to be able to exit it in a way that is the most cost and tax efficient. There's a lot of different things we do for clients. We generally help people with at least 500,000 or liquid assets, or younger clients who are saving at least $5,000 a month and are rapidly growing their account, even if they're under that minimum.
And there's a lot of important nuances that probably you're an expert on that other people aren't. For instance, I may think like the best way is to invest in real estate because it offers the greatest growth, and you know things like, hey, but you may be taxed the most here, or if you're close to your death, that's going to be harder to transfer your wealth to your kids.
Yeah, we're not tax advisors. You need to use your CPA for that.
Okay.
What we do is just we help on the investment side. So if you need help deciding where to allocate your capital, especially stuff that's in the public markets, that's what we specialize in.
And so I guess that between those two, the important factors are growth, speed of growth, but I guess also security.
Yeah, it's growth relative to your risk capacity. Okay. Not everybody really has the stomach to take 50% drawdowns. Like the common advice, just dollar cost averaging and throwing in index funds, works really well for smaller accounts and for people who can stomach the bad times in markets. we haven't really had a long extended bear market in a while. And so people just assume, oh, I'll always be fine by just dollar cost averaging in the S&P 500, no matter how big my account is. But the US large cap stocks aren't going to always be the asset that outperforms the most. I mean, that will rotate maybe to other things that active management tends to outperform in historically, such as bonds or small caps or foreign companies. But also, if the market goes down, your psychology might work against you and you may not stick to a plan that otherwise would work well. So, yeah, you have to adjust depending on your own personal risk tolerance capacity, your investment style. And then based on that, you try to maximize your returns and look for the best opportunities in that set. And real estate does have a place in people's portfolio. I just don't think it's 100% like a lot of real estate people do.
Yeah. Now I'm going to show my ignorance. Bear is bad, bull is good.
Yeah, bears as a bear market, like the media definition is 20% more down in the market, 20% or greater contraction in the market.
Wow.
Over like over a 9-month period or greater. But whereas like an extended bear market is one that would last over a year. And we had the last bear market was 2022, where a lot of people did get hit because the big tech companies that were the most popular went down a lot that year. But it came back fairly quickly. So the last really extended bear market was 2008. That lasted more than a year. And then before that, 2001. But they generally happen once every 5 to 10 years.
That risk to growth ratio. I was just sitting next to I was taking my kids to jiu-jitsu, and I walked over to the coffee shop, and there was some guy in there like I vaguely knew. This was like, I don't know, 2 years ago. And he starts showing me his Bitcoin portfolio, and I didn't know anything about Bitcoin. So right then and there, he got me to download an app called crypto.com and convinced me to spend $1,000. And within like 3 months, he told me all the ones to pick. And within like 3 months, it was down to $300. And then I just turned off the app. I never went back to it. And then recently, one of the dads who was sitting next to me is like, "Hey, dude, have you opened that app in the last 2 years?" And I'm like, "No." And I had all my money back. It had gone back up. And then I've been seeing on the news lately that thing is just skyrocketing, right? I want to say that I should have bought all Bitcoin, I guess, but I just spread it out. But I guess I bought the Bitcoin when it was, I want to say 60, and it went down to 60,000 a Bitcoin, and maybe it went down to 40 roughly. And now that thing is skyrocketing. Has cryptocurrency been a big new? Is cryptocurrency new still? Would you say it's new?
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively new. I mean, Bitcoin was started in 08 or 09, and the other ones kind of came in the mid 2010s. But I don't really consider Bitcoin to be an investment per se. I mean, I think it's more of a speculative vehicle personally. You can make money trading it in the short term, but for my clients, I don't think it really has a place in their portfolio.
You made a video that says, "Is the stock market gambling?" I watched you had a short of it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is Bitcoin more akin to gambling? Is Bitcoin like that? It felt more like, remember that poly market thing that was going on during the election?
Yeah,
Is Bitcoin more like that?
Betting prediction on who will win an election. It's
Is
not
Bitcoin
quite that way because like something like sports betting or poly market, there's a defined event, and you either win everything or you lose everything. So like, say for example, I bet on a Lakers game playing the Golden State Warriors, it's a 50% chance either team wins. I bet $110 to make 100 because 10 goes to the bookie who sets it up for you. If that bet is worth 100, it can go up and down in value over time depending on the probability of maybe if LeBron gets injured, the Warriors odds go up, or if Curry gets injured, the Lakers odds go up, or vice versa. But once the game happens, and the outcome happens, and whatever, once the Lakers win that game, the Lakers bet has a value from 100 to 200, and the Warriors value is 100 to 0, and that's the end of it. And same with poly market. Once the election happened, the odds ended. Whereas with Bitcoin, there isn't a defined end to it. Like, it's what reason it's not really a convention. I don't really view it as a conventional investment, is because investments have some sort of intrinsic value historically. When you buy a bond, you are getting an interest payment. When you buy a stock, you are entitled to a share of the company's after-tax profits. Sometimes they reinvest them into the company. Sometimes they use those to buy back shares, and sometimes they use those to pay you a dividend check. But as a shareholder, you are responsible for you get a fixed not fixed. You get your proposed share of the upside of the company, whatever way it's distributed. And then you're limited to the liability of the value of your share. So if the company fails, your stock goes to zero. But if the company continues to do well, your stock will go up, and you'll get a higher return than the bondholder of that company, who gets paid a fixed return no matter how well the company does, assuming it doesn't go bankrupt. And then with commodities, you have a physical object that can be used, whether that's a bar of gold, whether that's a barrel of oil, whether that's a bushel of wheat or corn. So the intrinsic value of the commodity is what you can use the commodity for. Well, it's a physical item. Crypto has none of those three things. It's really just a purely speculative vehicle. And when people's emotions are high and everybody's really excited, it has a lot of upside potential because there's nothing to set the valuation. Like, stocks in theory can go as high as you want them to. There's companies with ridiculously high valuations, but investors will generally get skeptical at a certain point because they know that you need to deliver eventual profits to make up for the hype in your company. Otherwise, it's going to crash back down to whatever level is sustainable. And a bond won't go up past a certain level because nobody would buy an instrument that pays them an interest rate that is either below the rate of inflation or outright zero. So there's an effective ceiling on the bonds. Whereas there's no really ceiling on the speculation of crypto. It could be whatever you hope it to be. But at the same time, if people aren't super excited about the asset class and there isn't somebody willing to pay a higher price, there's nothing to stop it from completely collapsing and losing nearly all of its value, because there is no really intrinsic value. It's really it's a speculative game where you're relying on somebody buying it at a higher price. That's the only thing that drives it up.
Nick, your YouTube station is Analyzing Finance.
Analyzing Finance with Nick. Yeah.
Analyzing Finance with Nick. Let me ask you this. Does it blur the line of speculative if people actually start using it? Maybe I don't understand crypto, but Bitcoin, in theory, is a competitor to the dollar, right? It's another currency out there, but since people aren't using it, it's turned into what I'm blurring the line with is gambling. But if people used it, does it blur the line with speculative? Because then, I mean, I still know we can't touch it like a commodity, but does it blur the line then because it actually has like day-to-day utility?
I mean, a currency, their money has three definitions. The money's defined in three things. You have money is unit of account, like it measures like how much your assets are essentially worth. And it's a store of value, which means that it should hold like very clearly consistent value. Like, this is why gold historically was used as collateral for money, because an ounce of gold always buys you about a nice suit. Gold about $2,600 an ounce right now. It buys you a nice suit. 30 years ago, gold was $400 an ounce. $400 an ounce $400 back then bought you a nice suit. And even as like if you go back to the old times, like in the 1860s when gold was $20, $20 bought you a nice suit. So that's what was the appeal of gold. For some reason my camera's kind of fading.
Maybe put your hand on it. Bring your hand up to it for a second. And now move it away, maybe now to your face, and maybe it'll refocus.
Yeah.
There we go. Uh-oh.
I don't know why.
Can you scoot over that way a little or that way a little? Yeah, maybe it'll that because I think what it's doing is it's focusing in on the back. Uh-oh, now put your hand up there a second. We have a blurry Nick.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, nothing you've said is blurry. Everything you're saying is concise. So that's the most important thing. Try one more time, Nick. Put your hand up there. And maybe get it to there. Focus on your hand and then pull away and maybe it'll and then put your face there. Huh. Can you scoot over more so you're centered even more?
Well, kind of my desk is right here. So.
Oh, can you turn your computer at all or your camera? Maybe it'll grab your face. Sorry, the other way.
Let's see. Okay.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
And so there's a measurement. I like that. And then a store value. And what's the third?
Unit of account. Is unit of account, store of value, and medium of exchange. So money can be something that can easily be exchanged from one party to the other. And Bitcoin often has very slow transaction speeds. It's very volatile. It moves regularly over 5% one way or the other a day. So it's not that great, I think, of a store of value or a unit of account, because like if you're like a business, say if you're trying to sell like a product and you want to price it in Bitcoin and the value of Bitcoin is changing drastically every day and you can't really hedge it that well because of the volatility, how are you going to have any sort of predictability on your revenue? Unless it's just Bitcoin becomes just the standard for everything and it just replaces the dollar. But then, like, again, what's the other problem? Like, great, fixed supply. But the other point really is that
fixed supply. Sorry, really quick for people who are listening.
That's the main
there's only
argument for Bitcoin. There's only 21 million Bitcoin.
Okay.
In the world. And that's great, but there's a fixed supply of a lot of things and you have to have demand for people to want it. And like I can create my own NFT, which is like these digital artwork pieces. I make only like 10 of them and list them on some NFT website and say, look, there's only 10 of them. But if nobody wants them, it doesn't matter how scarce they are. It's really just a confident. It's like that's the Bitcoin. A lot of people want it because they think I'm gonna get very wealthy by buying Bitcoin, and so a lot of people are buying it because they feel like that's the only thing that's going to get enough returns for them to drive to have them catch up on their retirement savings or afford a house or a lot of other things. Like, and it's the reason I'm a little bit personally skeptical is because if Bitcoin is really the replacement, then and it really is that scarce and that's the main driver, then why do the other cryptocurrencies have this big of a market cap as they do? It really should be all or nothing. Like the fact that somebody can create a cryptocurrency and market it well and it will have value kind of shows you the speculative nature of it. But again, I'm not really going to short Bitcoin here. It's not really something my firm trades one way or the other. But I just think that it's kind of a more speculative game. And if you have the discipline to time it, you can make money in it. But it's just not something that we're going to take a position on.
I can't remember what book it was, but I read this book about those twins, the Facebook twins, Rower twins. I forget their last name starts with a W.
Winklevoss.
Yes, and they bought a huge chunk of Bitcoin, and I don't remember which country it was, but there was some country, maybe it was Greece, but it was somewhere over in Europe. And the banks, do you know this story? And then basically they needed to pay some debt. So the government reached into everyone's bank account and took out like 20% of their savings if you had over $1 million saved or something. And that caused a panic. Cyprus. Okay. And that caused some sort of panic. And that increased the sales of Bitcoins because people thought that that would be a safe place to hide their cash or that it was going to diminish the trust in government. The government, issued money, and so people moved to Bitcoin. But you're suggesting that I don't want to put words in your mouth, but before Bitcoin, people would have bought gold.
Yes.
In that kind of panic, you would have taken your cash and bought gold because that's actually like a commodity. You can touch it.
Yeah. And I'm not against the idea of blockchain or crypto entirely. I think if you had a collateral backed cryptocurrency, like say like it's Bitcoin, but instead of just it being lines of code, uh, every Bitcoin is worth like a square meter of real estate in a ranch in Montana.
Right.
I can be behind that.
Right. Okay.
Or if it was backed by a vault worth of gold or silver or something like that. Like the ability to transport money easily digitally, and there's some inefficiency and energy wasting issues too with Bitcoin, but I'm not going to really get into it because it's not, that's more of a coder type.
You mean like the mining of it, like the people who set up those huge centers and they require tons of computing horsepower and they mine it?
Yeah, it's not really in my knowledge base. And also just I have to just say, just as a disclaimer here, I'm not really presenting any investment advice on this interview. Just please do your own research or hire an investment advisor. Like, yeah, I'm not really recommending buying or selling any sort of specific assets. So yeah,
I highly recommend Nick's channel, Analyzing Finance. It's crazy. It started becoming addictive. I watched one last night and then another and then another. Next thing I knew, I was 10 into it. Man, you've really looked into, if you like data and you like information and you like numbers, he gives you so much stuff about sort of the status of the world and the nation as a whole in view of numbers and population and how much money people make and where they're spending it. It's fantastic. What inspired you to make it, the YouTube station, to go public?
Well, I mean, I used to run a research consulting firm until fairly recently, and before I started my RIA, and I had a lot of ideas about the world and markets that were a little bit too esoteric for my clients. And so I was like, I'd like to share them somewhere. And I was looking for a new indoor hobby. And so like my outdoor hobby is tennis and my indoor hobby became YouTube. And like I just kind of started just posting things. And for like 3 years, my channel was basically kind of just obscure, but it grew at a steady pace, and I felt like I was delivering value to people of interest and fulfilling some of my intellectual curiosities. And now recently it's kind of taken off to a level that I never quite frankly expected it to get to.
Are you feeling pressure to put out content or make it better and better?
I always want to make it better. I'm a competitive person. So like, I mean, I want to have, like, if I'm going to compete in something, like, or pursue some sort of hobby, I want to be good at it. And unlike physical sports, I'm not really limited by like just my physical capacity. Like I'm not a natural athlete. So like I mean I can become a better tennis player, but I'm not going to ever become Roger Federer. And like I wanted to be good at basketball, but the fact that I'm only 6 feet tall and I can't run very fast or jump very high means that I was never going to be a great basketball player. But with YouTube and intellectual things, I can always get better, and I can compete with the best in those type of things. That's partially why I like working in investing, because it's kind of the ultimate strategy game in a way. Like it's kind of like, I guess it's a game of chess in a way, but you have unlimited moves and the opponent can really do unlimited things. So there's always something different. Like no day at work is the same for me. And
hey, isn't Newport considered like the tennis capital of the U.S. or something like that? Isn't Newport, or it's like got like some slogan with the city, like the friendliest place to play tennis? No, it's not.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so yeah, there are I think there's 3 tennis clubs here in town. But yeah,
Hey, does Newport have indoor tennis? Do they have an indoor tennis facility?
No. I mean,
No,
the
okay.
weather's nice here. You don't really need one.
Yeah, for sure. My kids play a lot of tennis. I don't play, but my kids I take my kids to the tennis club 5 days a week. What a crazy sport. I thought it was just going to be completely stupid. I'm not a fan of baseball, golf, or tennis, but after sitting there, for 4 years and watching them play 5 days a week. It's crazy. What a crazy sport.
Yeah, it's fun, and like it's kind of sad that a lot of people are shifting to pickleball because of it requires less movement and it has a smoother learning curve.
No
But
learning curve. No learning curve.
I think tennis is a much better game. My
I
joke
mean,
is I call pickleball boomer tennis.
yeah, it's crazy too, right? My kids' tennis club, half the club, they've torn out half the courts and put in pickleball courts. It's nuts.
Yeah.
I think it'll
So,
go away like racquetball. You're
mhm.
probably, I don't know if you're old and I'm 52.
Oh, I
You were
loved
picking up,
racquetball. I played
but
it a lot in college. They had courts at UC Santa Barbara, and I
yeah,
used to play it.
that's where you went. Yeah, I used to play at UC Santa Barbara too. A lot
Yeah,
of
that's where I
racquetball.
went to college back in the days. It's probably the best lifestyle college in America, and I don't even drink, and I just thought it was the best lifestyle college in America.
Did you play competitively? Were you an A,
I
B,
just
or C
played for
player?
fun with my
Oh,
friends.
yeah.
Like I mean, I'm not that great of a natural athlete. I mean, the closest I did competitive sports, I was on the high school bowling team, and I was on the club fencing team at UC Santa Barbara.
Nick, you're a finance guy that did fencing and
Yeah.
bowling. You're not helping with any of the stereotypes. Hey,
There's a
you know what?
stereotype about finance people fencing and bowling I've never heard of.
Listen, the fact you haven't, it just fits. It just fits. Listen to me. If I think of a guy who does financing, if I think of a guy who does fencing, he's also into financing. Hey, you know what's crazy? I was like the best C player racquetball that ever existed at UC Santa Barbara, and then I played the worst guy on the B team, and I couldn't score a fucking point against him. It's crazy the levels today. I was the worst shitty racquetball player ever.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably not that great, but I never played against anybody who was serious about it either, so I had a good time.
Yeah, I thought I was serious until I played someone who was like just a tiny bit good. It's nuts, but it's a great audio too in there, right? I like the sound of the ball bouncing around in there.
Yeah, I haven't played since basically since college, so it's been
But
a while.
but racquetball went away, kind of. You know what I mean? Like if you go to racquetball clubs are being turned into all sorts of shit, and I'm hoping kind of pickleball goes the same way. I'm hoping that it kind of just goes away, kind of like racquetball did.
I don't know. It'd be nice if racquetball had a little bit of a comeback, actually.
Racquetball.
Yeah, it was fun, but yeah, I think pickleball should outdoor pickleball. I mean, it does help people be more active, so that's the one plus of it. It's always good if more people are doing more physical exercise.
Just out of curiosity, you know, doctors will come on the show and they'll say the same thing you did. Hey, I'm not going to give this. There's no medical advice being given. But with the finance guy, why don't you just give advice? Why don't you just come on here and be like, hey guys, buy Adidas. They're releasing a
There's
new shoe.
compliance issues with that.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
In what way? Why you can't just you can't be like just be like
No, because everybody has different situations. Like I'd say like one investment is good for one person and it's bad for somebody else. So like if I just sit and if somebody listens to this, they make a trade based on what I say and they lose money, like that's a problem. And especially if it's not something that they should be doing based on their personal situation. So that's why, like, if you have a specific personal financial situation, you need to contact advisor directly, and they can help you privately. Because again, what's a good investment for you is not a good investment for me, and it's not a good investment for the viewer necessarily. So that's why it's to protect. Like our regulatory system designs it to protect individual investors from doing something that is not advised. So for them particularly.
But there's all these shows that tell you like I watch a lot of UFC and like there's all like during the
They're not
show.
professionals. Like I'm a fiduciary. I'm like
Mm,
by law need to work in the best interest of my clients.
mm.
And I'm held to a higher standard than somebody who's not a professional in this industry.
Then someone telling me who to pick for the fight. Hey, put $800 on so and so.
And gambling is not investing either. Yeah, so like yeah, I mean this is the way the securities law is in this country. It's like I'm held to a higher standard than that. They don't have those kind of regulations for gambling because nobody expects to get their money back from gambling.
Well, unfortunately, probably people do, but that's wrong thinking. You could give that financial advice. It is smart to think of gambling as, hey, in the long run, you're not getting your money back
No, like, and in
because the house
general,
has to win, right? Eventually.
the house wins. I mean, otherwise the casinos can't make money. Like, and usually that's through, like, if you wanted, for example, it's sports betting, you need to get 53% of your bets right to break even approximately, which sounds easier than it is because it's not just picking straight games. They have point spreads and other things to manage the odds. And most sports books are efficient. Like, they set the line at the proper place most of the time. There are certain niches that you can, maybe like very low mid-major college sports, or like sports that nobody cares about. But then you have capacity issues. Like, if somebody bets a large amount of money on UC Santa Cruz baseball, I don't even know if UC Santa Cruz has a baseball team. I'm just making up
Right.
something here.
Right.
The authorities are probably going to look into that because they're like, why would somebody bet so much on something so obscure? They probably know something. And that's like how a lot of point shaving scandals get caught. So, yeah, it's not, yeah, you don't really go into gambling to act. Gambling is a recreational type of thing, and it destroys lives, unfortunately, for people who take it way too far.
Yeah, I don't dabble in it at all. Losing even a little bit of money sucks. Losing in gambling feels like I guess people do it for entertainment value, but losing. I played in a casino once in my life. I played blackjack, and within like 15 seconds, I lost $60, and it hurt.
I remember when I was in high school, my mom hosted a big New Year's party. I thought I could make some money being the house on a blackjack table, and I ended up losing like $100 at 15 years old or whatever. And I
Yeah,
was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do. I lost as the house. I'm not gonna. I don't think I can win as a gambler.
yeah, yeah. That hurts. Hey, completely speculating, but one of the reasons why I think that your channel is taking off is I think that there's a group of people in the country who are getting more and more interested in deeper and deeper levels of processes. And so, we saw it in this election for the first time. So, the left was campaigning on saving democracy, right?
Yeah.
And sort of the right came in and is like, hey, it's not the democracy that's important, it's our liberties that are provided by the Constitution. And so I think more and more people started like looking into things like that, like, hey, we have these unalienable rights that we need to preserve that we can never have voted away, like freedom of speech, right to bear arms. And so it's kind of like looking at a deeper level of what's functioning. And I think that we got a cohort of people in the country who they became for some reason, whether it's social media or whatnot, more educated. And I think that's also put a lot of attention on the Federal Reserve. I think most of us were just spending money. And then all of a sudden, some of us were like, hey, what's going on? Where does money come from? Do you have any, and then I want to get to what your thoughts about the Federal Reserve and if we could ever go back to not having income tax. But what's your thought on that? Do you think that has a relationship to the growth of your channel? People are becoming more curious on what are the deeper levels, mechanisms that are running our civilization.
Yeah, I mean, I think people have become more curious really about this since the global financial crisis in 2008. Ron Paul had a long shot primary Republican campaign in 2008 and 2012, and it made my generation largely aware of monetary policy and the Fed and gold standard and all these kinds of things. And it was kind of a niche thing back then, but like with the recent levels of inflation we've had over the last few years, people have gotten a lot more curious about the Federal Reserve and how our monetary system works. And like my views have moderated somewhat about the Fed over the years. Like, I used to be the hardest anti-Fed guy, but like the thing is, the problems with abolishing the Fed is you have to trust the government to replace it with the proper thing.
Mm.
And I don't trust Congress to replace the Fed with like a proper gold backed financial system. What they would probably do is they would just give Congress the power to set interest rates, which would be worse than the Fed. Like, the
Mm.
fact that the Fed is independent and private and all these things actually has a good thing, is that they will they will not cave under political pressure when it's time to actually tighten the monetary policy. They often are late at it because the Fed is a lagging organization, but like Powell did ultimately the right thing. He raised rates to 5% when inflation got out of control and held them there for over a year, which was needed. Like if this was run by Congress directly and they needed low interest rates to keep their government spending up, they would have not. They probably would have not. Congress would not have increased the rates to 5% and stayed there. We would have worse inflation if he had Congress or the President Trump controlling the monetary policy.
That's really interesting because that, and I'm really in my infancy in understanding what the Fed is, and so I think that's where people enter, where you entered, and I think that's where I'm more at. I'm like, well, fuck these guys, get these guys out of here. But what you're saying is the grass might not be greener over the hill. You get rid of this, you might get something worse.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why the Fed was created, and I've thought about doing a history of the Fed series on my YouTube channel. It's just I don't really have documentary production skills yet, which is why I've hesitated, and I want to make it right. And that is the idea that I lost my train of thought here.
The Fed, the history of it, and like when you first see it and you first start to understand it, you want it to be get the fuck out. And now as you've looked at it more and more, you're like, oh shit, what would happen? What would replace it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you look at other countries whose central banks are more tied to their governments, they have worse outcomes. Argentina and Turkey are the most extreme examples, but even places like the EU, they've consistently held rates below inflation and people are losing. Or in Japan, where they have rates at 0 or negative in perpetuity, they haven't had inflation, but that's more due to demographic issues. And yeah, if you have it more politically driven, it kind of creates worse outcomes. So that the whole point of it, you need to have an independent central bank. And oh yeah, that's what I was gonna go. Historically, before the Fed, you had a gold standard, and you had no central bank, and you had private lending decide the money supply. Like, say for like, I don't know, how familiar are you with fractional reserve banking? Okay. Fractional reserve banking is the idea that if you deposit money in a bank, the bank doesn't have to always have 100% of those reserves in the bank. There's a reserve ratio. So there's like a minimum amount the bank needs to have in there. Let's just say it's 10%. It's usually around there. Right? But and I'm going to use this as the hypothetical example. The bank only needs 10% of the money in the bank at a given time. And what do they do with the other 90%? They lend it. So let's just say I go to the Bank of Savon in Santa Cruz and I deposit $1,000. I have a bank account. Like I log into savonbank.com, it will show $1,000 on my checking account. But what you're doing is you only keep 100 of it in the bank as equity, and you lend out the 900 to a local restaurant, and the restaurant takes that money and puts it in its bank account, and then that bank, what they use, will lend out 810 of those dollars and keep only 90, and that keeps repeating. And then and that's how the money supply grows. So like for every dollar that's deposited in the bank, there's there's 90 cents there's $9 that's lent. That's in terms of on the books on the bank in terms of equity. There's a lot. There's $9 that's lent out. And so that's why you have a lot of speculative booms and busts in the economy, because the money supply contracts and increases with the growth of loans. So when lending goes up, you have more money supply and you have more economic activity and more inflation if it gets out of hand. And then when economic times are tough, it works the other way around, because this is the problem with the Austrian boom bust cycle, which is that you're lending all this money and you're creating all, but the problem is that you're not necessarily generating enough wealth to pay back the interest on this newly created money. And that's where the busts tend to happen, is that when a lot of this money comes due, not everybody who borrowed got a good enough of a return on their investments to pay it back. And that's what results in busts and those debt defaults and assets going down in value due to less people having money to buy these things, that's what causes money supply to contract. And so you have these boom and bust cycles in the economy. And before the Fed, they were way more extreme because there is no like regulatory framework to keep the banks from overly aggressive lending practices during good times. And the Fed is kind of, their role is the lender of last resort. So like if all the banks are in trouble and nobody can like give emergency financing to the banking system or a big creditor a big debtor that's in trouble, then the whole economy can implode and it causes a panic. Like you've probably read a lot of economic history, like the Panic of 1837 or the Panic of 1876, and that's like when the whole market clears and a lot of people just lose their everything because the banks fail. Because like if say for example, if you're lending $9 for every dollar in your reserves, if only 10% of your people fail, you go bust. And that's why you used to have runs on the banks. If anybody had any feeling that a particular bank didn't have enough money to give all their depositors back, or they had a bad loan on their books and the chances of the bank staying solvent were at any sort of jeopardy. This kind of happened with Silicon Valley Bank a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
People were afraid they just weren't going to be able to.
They were bailed out, right? The government bailed them out?
Yeah, the government bailed them out because they didn't want a bunch of startups who had their payroll done through that bank to lose their money.
Hey, and when we say bailed them out, that means they printed, if they printed money, we all paid for it. We all paid for it.
It depends how the bailout's constructed. But yeah, ultimately, the taxpayers took the risk on. Like, you look at theory, like even with TARP, which I wasn't really a big fan of, the big bailout in 2008, the government technically made money on that because the banks were able to pay those loans back with high interest rates as the economy got better. But the thing is that.
And when you say the government made money on it, that means we made money on it. You think that in the long run, it helped everyone out in the economy, all the citizens?
No, but for different reasons.
Okay.
But the government made money on it because the banks were able to pay it back, but the taxpayers took way more risk than they would have if they did that individually. And so they probably didn't get a good enough of a return that they should have in theory. But the thing is that the main problem I have with the bank bailouts is not necessarily the fact that they were ineffective and the taxpayer lost money, but more in the fact that the precedent they set, which is the idea that the whole entitlement like culture kind of came from that to a certain degree. It's the idea like, oh, if the government is going to bail out big banks and we're not going to let them fail, why shouldn't I get a bailout? And like the student loan bailout thing was the best example of this, but we just have this mentality, nobody should be accountable for their failures. And that was the kind of the cultural message sent, in my opinion, from TARP. And I think and we've had now like bigger and more comprehensive bailouts of a lot of different industries since then because the precedent set back in 2008. And now everybody's suggesting like nobody really is taking personal responsibility anymore on a lot of things because they're like, oh, like if the biggest banks in the world, the people who should be smart and know how to manage risk, and they get bailed out, and they're the like what kind of, and then also that creates a lot of resentment, and the inequality debate started to become Occupy Wall Street was kind of arose as a product of the backlash to this. Yeah, I think the cultural precedent is the bigger issue more than the actual financial cost of TARP. Even though
an entitled society is a weak society, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and like the thing is that you could have structured that bailout a little differently. Like you should have had requirements, for example, that the management got fired if they took the money, or that the stock like what happened with Silicon Valley Bank was done a lot better. I think that the regulators learned their lesson from this because like the Silicon Valley Bank and incident, the stock was written off to zero and the assets were acquired by stronger banks. They didn't really bail out the bank. They just prevented the depositors from getting screwed. Because normally deposit insurance is the idea. You know, if you're familiar with what deposit insurance is, like you get no matter what you do, you get like no matter how bad the bank is, the government will protect up to $250,000 in an account. And so that's why people felt safe putting money in the banks after the Great Depression, because the Great Depression, a lot of banks failed because of bank runs. There was no deposit insurance. And yeah, deposit insurance, I can argue both sides on this. Like on one hand, deposit insurance incentivizes people not to care about where they put their money in their bank. So they'll chase the highest interest rate, even if the bank is making not so good loans. But on the other hand, if you don't have deposit insurance, you have the risk of bank runs. So yeah, it's kind of a complicated like pros and debate there on whether we should be having it or not. But the fact that we do has caused a lot of people to be more secure about their bank. And people didn't realize, like above a certain level, your deposits aren't protected. And Silicon Valley Bank, fortunately, had a lot of large deposits. And so when they had signs of them having nominal losses due to the bonds that they bought going down in value with interest rates going up, a lot of people pulled out at the same time and caused a panic. And the government didn't want all these startup companies, mostly who had their payroll done on their business account, Silicon Valley Bank, to go bust because of the mismanagement of the bank. So what they did is they just said, look, we're gonna make sure that every depositors are made whole. We're gonna bail out like that part of the capital structure, but the people lower on the capital structure, like the more junior bond holders and the equity holders, get wiped out. That's how you should do these things. The other example would be like Cyprus. Cyprus was what happened. You told me about Cyprus as another example of another way you could have structured the bank bailout. What they did, they bailed you in. So, like if you were a large depositor above the deposit insurance limit, you didn't get your money back, but you got shares of the bank. Well, worth a lot less. The bank might be worthless, so that might not be that reassuring, especially if the bank doesn't survive. But that's what they kind of did, is that they converted the bondholders and depositors into either more junior debt levels or equity levels. And that's another way you can do it, is you could bail in the large depositors, or you just bail in there's other ways you could have structured it so that it didn't look like that the people who caused the financial crisis were the ones who were getting off relatively scot-free.
You have a video about education, people going to college.
Yeah.
And it's been a popular topic, on YouTube and people visiting colleges. And Charlie Kirk has a whole series on it where he goes to colleges and tells the people that they're being scammed. And I'm trying to think more and more. I don't know anyone who uses their college degree.
I use my college degree.
Okay, good. What's your college degree in?
I studied business economics at UC Santa Barbara, and I did a technology management program, which is kind of like a certificate that's like a minor in entrepreneurship. It kind of gave me the knowledge about how to build startup companies and things like that. So, and then I even did I learned a lot of, I don't use everything that I learned in college, but I learned a lot of basics of accounting and finance through my college degree. I think the purpose of going to college is, one, is you got to figure out what you want to do. Like, you have kids. Mm-hmm. Do you think like when your children are 18 years old, they're going to be ready to be valuable contributors to the business world?
I don't know. I sure as hell wasn't. I just went to college just because I was supposed to.
You kind of need, if you're someone you can afford it, you kind of need like a transition phase between like childhood and being a functioning member of society. And college is a nice bridge for that. And
a lot of military guys do that too, right? They get out of the military and then they go get a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. They go back to college, but a lot of them I've spoken to say the only reason why they do that is for what you said, that just because they need some time to get a transition.
Yeah, don't really think at 18 years old I had really anything of value to add to the professional world. And most 18-year-olds, quite frankly, do not. The other thing, though, which is more important, is that college is a good ground to figure out what you want to do with your life after college. If you actually apply yourself and take the time to really soul search and think about this, you are exposed to a lot of different ideas and different options and things that you would not be able to really experience. And I mean, like, for example, like I didn't really learn about how the investment management industry works from how like the business models of wealth management firms and hedge funds and other buy side operations until I went to college and did like a mentorship program under a retired hedge fund manager while I was in school.
Which was distinct from the college, though. You probably could have gotten that even
It was
without
through the
going to college,
economics
right?
department is
Oh,
how I
okay.
got that opportunity.
Okay.
So like if I didn't go to college, I would have never had an opportunity like that. And I learned about other like there's other and I learned about other career options too, just by like going to certain seminars or just reading about things or talking to other people who are pursuing other paths and majors and taking various classes. And I tried a lot of new hobbies I wouldn't have otherwise, like fencing. I never picked up a blade before I went to college. I would have not probably had that chance if I didn't go to college.
Were you any
And
good
there's
at
a
fencing? Were you any
no,
good at it?
I
No.
am okay. Like, I mean, I did it for 2 years. I had a good time, but I wouldn't say I'm a great fencer. Um, but that's just one example. There's a lot of other things I tried. Like I learned how to surf in college.
Mm.
Um, and I yeah, and I did the entrepreneurship program at school, and I learned about how the whole startup economy works and how to build a business. It was more designed for engineers looking to start tech companies. I wasn't an engineer, but I wanted to learn about business, so I took that anyway. And you can do a whole kinds of things. I think the main thing of college is a lot of people do not allocate their time properly, and they instead of using it as a time to explore what opportunity sets are out there, they're maybe using it just to have fun or to get out with it in the easiest way possible. And then they graduate with no real practical knowledge or skills and not spent any time networking. And they're like, well, now what do I do?
Hey, dude, you described me to a T. I was just always looking for the courses that was the easiest. I was looking for the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
That's all I was doing. I was looking, okay, what's the easiest math class to take to fill that requirement? How can I get the language requirement? That's all I was doing. And I was
Yeah. For
just
certain things that I,
shifting around in majors, just looking for a way out.
yeah, for things outside my major, I did some of those, particularly classes where there was nothing that there were certain requirements, particularly like the stuff that a lot of progressive people would like that you or I would not, that you had to do. And I just try to find like the easiest ones for those things because they didn't really stimulate me at all intellectually. But for the stuff that actually I think I could learn something from, I made it a priority to actually develop some sort of knowledge that I can use when I was out of school, even if it wasn't finance. Like I took a lot of creative writing classes, for example, which I ended up using later in life.
Hey, I don't remember where I saw the statistic, but I saw this study where they tested students before they went into college for critical thinking skills, and they tested them when they came out. And there was only one major where critical thinking skills increased:
Which one was it?
economics.
Hmm. Well, yeah, because economics is a lot about critical thinking. Like economics, especially if you dive deeper into it and read like the Freakonomics books are a good example of this. It's about and that my channel is all about this. You try to find alternative explanations on why things are happening, and that requires critical thinking. Like the surface level thing, and that's like the problem with the political narrative is that the surface level thing is not usually the only cause of what's going on. And if you're trained to think like an economist, you try to think about what is other variables that can be driving this.
Hey, is that like looking at the symptom instead of the cause? So let's say you get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and you go get on metformin or you go get on insulin or you know what I mean? You get, as opposed to, wait a second, I could just stop eating Snicker bars and drinking soda and it'll go away.
Yeah, that's part of it. But like also could say, hey, look, maybe if I can also, maybe my diabetes is also caused by a sedentary lifestyle in addition to just eating Snickers bars.
Right.
Like that's another way of putting it as well. It's like you gotta think of other things that can be causing that other than the most obvious one.
Is the goal is financial is there a right way to think of you're not going to like this question. Is there a right way to think of finances? Like for me, the right way to think about it is I w- I want to be able to put gas in my car and buy avocados without worrying about the price. I'm looking to reduce my number of hours I'm working for someone else and make it for myself. Like be doing what I want to do, not to live a life of leisure, but just to pursue the things I want to pursue. Is there some sort of gold standard?
Well, everybody has a different standard and expectation. It really depends on how much work you're willing to put in and what your starting point is. So, like, yeah, some
But
people, their financial goal is really just simple that they want to. I think in general, people don't want debt, especially non-mortgage debt.
well,
Uh,
intellectually they don't want it, but yet they pursue it. Like right, like anytime I see someone driving an Escalade, not in Newport, but in Santa Cruz, I'm just like, wow, you're fucked. I just assume that like, wow, you have a car
a lot of them
payment.
might just be visitors from the Central Valley who have vacation homes there.
Say that again.
A lot of them might just be visitors from the Central Valley who have vacation homes there.
Oh, they can afford the Escalade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I've seen like if I don't know, there's Santa Cruz and Aptos, and particularly the
Right.
areas south of the boardwalk.
Right.
There's a lot of those people don't live there. Like Santa Cruz, I've heard is the worst city in terms of average income relative to cost of living.
Yes.
Like if you don't, I mean, if you
There's
don't,
no employment here. There's no real
employment
work here.
opportunities are very limited. Like I'm
Yeah.
surprised how people who work there can afford to live in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
And I can understand why it's expensive because it's the only decent beach in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Right. And we're protected from all the crime and all the chaos, but we're right here. We're 17 miles away from, the mothership over at Apple and Facebook, Amazon, all that shit, and Netflix. But because of that highway, we're totally insulated
Yeah.
because of that narrow road.
Yeah. I've done the 17 a lot. It's one of the
Yeah.
most scary drives in America, honestly, at night.
Yeah.
But
When it's raining.
yeah, I don't like, but when it comes to the the thing is, yeah, like the thing that probably the most for Santa Cruz people, I don't really know how much of your audience lives in Santa Cruz, but probably the best financial decision for them would be to move.
You're probably right. You're
Like,
probably
so, but like, I mean, and if it wasn't for family reunions, I'd probably go different places for vacation.
right.
Like, I have a lot of ties there personally, which is why I go up there quite a bit. But
Right.
um when it comes to the like in terms of personal finances, yeah, it also how it ends like, do you want to retire? How far are you away from retiring? Um, do you have heirs that you need to pass money on down to or not? Uh, what is your base lifestyle costs? And like realistically, how can you save enough to get there? Because like a wealth manager, all they can help you get return on your money, but most of your growth and your wealth is going to be caused by the income you earn in your career, assuming you're not from inherited money.
Hey, just to wrap that up before I ask you about inheritance, I guess there's just a big discrepancy for me. I look for just day-to-day pleasures as opposed to some sort of I don't need a new car. I'd rather be able to just I want my day-to-day to be completely stress-free. I don't
Yeah.
want, you know what I mean? I'd rather like cancel my Sirius XM and be able to buy avocados. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
I'd
that's the other
rather,
thing you have to measure is how important is status to you.
yeah, which
Like some
isn't
people really want the status of being a homeowner, and so they will prioritize that even if it doesn't make financial sense. Like in certain markets in America, you could rent the same house for a third of the price of what you would get a mortgage on it, or half.
That's how stupid I am. I've never even thought of owning a house as a status thing. I've always thought of it as just a smart investment, but I've never put any deep thought into it.
I mean, it depends on where you live, whether it's a smart investment or not. And like a high cost of living city where um, the return rates aren't, the cap rates aren't very high, it's more of a consumption item. Like I'd like to buy a house one day here in Orange County when it makes sense for me to do so. Um, when I have a family of my own, but I would not really look at that as an investment. I would look at it more as a personal lifestyle and consumption decision. And if it happens to go up, that's just a bonus.
Right.
Whereas if you're an investment, you need to analyze it more from a dollars and cents points of view. And if I wanted to buy real estate for investment, I'd probably buy in a different city.
I mean, you know what I did, Nick? This is as far as my advanced planning went. When I had a good job, I bought a house.
Yeah.
And then I was horrible at savings. So I just took a 15-year loan and paid my mortgage twice a month. And I did that with 3 homes.
It's not a terrible strategy,
But just
especially
so I
if,
wouldn't see my money. And then the day I got fired, I actually paid off one of my homes the exact day, which was kind of crazy.
Like that's why mortgage housing builds wealth for a lot of people, because it's a kind of a forced savings mechanism.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people who don't have the predisposition to save kind of are forced to do it by paying their mortgage down, because paying down debt is saving, because debt is essentially negative savings.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
You said you wanted to buy a house and maybe start a family. Heidi wants to know if you're single.
Yeah, as of now I am. So
as of now, but not. Yeah. Okay. He's single and he wants a house. That's all. And he likes money. You like money?
Yeah. I mean, I like money. I view as freedom. It's kind of like the way to look at money, is like the number of years you don't have to work. So let's just look at you. Say if your cost of living in a given year is $50,000, is all your expenses in a year. Then if you have $1 million in the bank, you have 20 years worth of living expenses. You don't have to work for 20 years, or you could pay somebody else to do work for you. Like that's what hiring an employee essentially is like, you don't have enough time to do all the things you need to do to accomplish a certain goal as a business owner. And so you pay somebody else to take off some of the load for you, so you can get stuff that would take you by yourself more years of your life. So money is essentially time. And that's why you have interest rates, because interest is the time value of money. Like a dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow. And so you have to be compensated to get more of that. To be compensated to not spend that money now or not use it now.
Oh.
And so that's why you have to pay interest, because otherwise you lose either due to inflation or just due to the fact that you're depriving yourself from enjoying your money now. And you deferred gratification apparently needs to be rewarded, or people won't do it.
What do you think about the idea of thinking of money as potential human energy also?
Well, yeah, time is energy.
Time is energy. Okay.
In a sense.
And that's why stealing is so fucked up, right? Because basically you're taking away someone else's time, or when they use the word free, when they say, hey, college is going to be free, it's a misnomer, right? Because you're actually taking away someone else's human energy.
Well, yeah, I mean, and like the problem with college being free is that the student doesn't value it as much.
And it's not free. It's just free to them.
Yeah, I mean, like if you never have to pay for it, what's to stop you from being Van Wilder and staying in school indefinitely?
Yeah, I was there for 10 years. My parents paid for it. I stayed at Santa Barbara for 10 years.
Like, I mean, my family paid for my college, but there were certain strings attached. Like, you needed to finish on time. You needed to study something relevant and useful. Otherwise, we'd cut you off. And
that happened to me eventually. After 10 years, I got cut off.
Or like, if you're gonna go to a private school, you have to pay the difference between UC Santa Barbara and the private school out of your own pocket. So yeah, it kind of taught me financial responsibility, and time is essentially money, because Like when I left my last corporate job, I saved 3 years of living expenses so that I wouldn't have to go back.
Did you
So
get fired or did you quit because you had enough savings?
I quit because I had enough savings and I wanted to move back to Southern California, and I wanted to pursue having a career of my own. My whole goal in my 20s was to get out of the corporate America. And so I went and started the entrepreneurship path full time shortly after I turned 29 years old.
Hey, doesn't that stress you out seeing your pile get smaller? Like, I don't know how anyone does that. Like, I even as I
Yeah,
get old,
it's
even
very
as I get
stressful.
older, I don't want to see my pile ever get smaller. I want to leave a giant pile for my kids. Like, I don't like, I want to always keep contracting my lifestyle so that my pile never gets smaller
Yeah.
or make more money. Either way, I don't care how it's done, but I don't want my pile to get smaller.
Yeah, but you have to realize that, and this is the same thing with our government, really, if you look at it from a bigger picture, um, anything worth having requires some sort of struggle or risk. Like, if you
Right.
want to move up, like I'm going to do a video probably about this, about the class ladder. The reason why people don't move out of their social class often is because they're not willing to take the plunge. Like, if you and we willing to, like, Nassim Taleb said there were 3 things that were more addictive than anything else. There was drugs, sugar, and a stable salary.
Mm. Mm.
And yeah, I'm kind of maybe wired a little differently. I'm a 4th generation entrepreneur. When my great grandfather came here from Italy, he started a business. My grandfather started his own medical practice. My dad started his own company, and I did mine. There's all about 30 years old when they did it. And my brother is pursuing the same thing now too,
Is he older or
and
younger?
younger.
Younger. Okay.
And he did a few years after me. And the thing is that maybe so I'm used to it. Like, there are ups and downs, and that's why when I was working, I had a very high savings rate. Not because I could have used that money to buy a real estate. And sometimes when I'm not having a great day at work, I'm like, maybe I should have just used this money to buy a condo or something instead of taking the riskier route. But I personally value my my freedom probably more than most people do, and I would take a less money to run my own company than to work for somebody else.
Right. Right.
And then on top of that, if you want to make real upside, like generational wealth, you need to have equity in a company that you built.
Mm.
Especially if you don't come from money yourself. Like, you can work up the corporate level, but then you're going to hit a salary ceiling inevitably. And given high progressive taxes, it's going to be hard for you to after tax to save and invest enough that you're going to be able to really have to move up a level above your current social class. Like, you can have a nice retirement if you have a good, like, like a good, like, 150K plus year job, especially if you live outside of California.
Yeah, not here where I live. Not even close.
You can save up and have a comfortable retirement,
Yeah.
but you have a limited ceiling if you have very good at all. There is a way to move up the corporate world, but you need a different skill set. That's office politics, which is something I'm not particularly good at.
um, you seem very trustworthy, though. That's an important part. You seem very trustworthy.
Yeah.
You don't seem like you have a lot of office politics or snake in you. I'll tell you that. But you do seem very
No,
trustworthy, which is
no.
strong. Hey, I have a buddy who had a 6-figure job in California, also collected cans, also when he saw furniture on the side of the road, would pull over, pick it up, wipe it down, sell it on Facebook Marketplace. And over the last 3 or 4 years, he's bought 10 shitty little apartment complexes like in Ohio, you know what I mean, for like
Yeah.
$60,000, and he's doing it. He's like he's working his way out of his corporate job. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah, and
pretty fun to
those
watch.
apartments he's building is a business.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do it. It depends on industry you're in. Like, in my industry, I was working in another financial firm. You can't build a book of business while you're working for another company. There's a
What
lot
does
of
that mean? What
restrictions
does that
on
mean?
that.
A book of business?
Like you can't get
like
your
a
own clients.
oh, right. Okay. I see
Like
what you're
there's
saying.
some like examples that you
Yeah,
can do
this
that.
he's not in the real estate business. So he's in a total he went
So
in a
like
totally different way.
I've been in finance my entire career. So like I had to leave if I wanted to build something on my own, just
Like
because of
your own clients, your own
yeah,
clientele. Okay.
yeah. Whereas other people, if you can, some people can with their jobs do it while they're doing their job. Like YouTube is kind of an example of that for me. Like I started YouTube again mainly as a hobby, but it's kind of could be has a potential to become a business just
Right.
because of the power of media. And yeah, if I and that's the other thing, like I wouldn't be able to start my YouTube channel if I worked at a big company. They would have told me to shut it down.
Oh, interesting.
Like most bigger, like bigger, especially if you talk about something in your niche or industry, especially like it is a reflection of your company. But since I am my company,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. I just have to be careful with what I say for compliance reasons. Why I don't talk about specific investments really that much at all on my channel. But um but I have creative freedom because I'm an entrepreneur. That's one of the other benefits.
We're living in exciting times, huh, Nick?
Yeah.
Like, when you wake up in the morning, you're pretty pumped? Like, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on?
Yeah. I'm pretty optimistic about the world right now.
Hey, what about this book? Tyler says, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Total Money Makeover.
I have never read Total Money Makeover. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was in high school, and it is a good book about mindset. In terms of the specific investment ideas, it's not really going to help you. But I think the quadrant that they talk about in Rich Dad Poor Dad, the ESBI, is a good framework for looking at things. I don't know. Are you familiar with the quadrant from Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No, I am not. I think
There's
I remember it being explained to me at some point, but I forgot it.
okay. Well, there's
I
kind of
have a
like
memory of a walnut.
there's 4 types of relationships you can have with money. You're an employee, you are self-employed. That's the E is employee, S is self-employed, B is business owner, and I is investor.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, E is that you are entirely dependent on a paycheck from somebody else, and that's your primary source of income. And so if you lose your job, you're in trouble, and you're relatively fixed income. S, you're self-employed. You have the upside, but at the same time, you have to do everything. Like you can't really. It's hard to. It's you can't scale perfectly because, like, say for example, if I decided to just go on a plane to Hawaii for 2 months and check out, my business would probably fall apart at this point. I mean, I
And
do have a team.
no
It's not
entitlement, no security.
it's not just it's not just me. I have a team of people, so it wouldn't completely disappear, but it would not work nearly as well. I haven't scaled to the point where I've hired employees to replace everything that I do.
Mm.
When you got that level, you're the B, the business owner, where you your day-to-day role becomes increasingly less important. And if you ever want to sell a business, you need to get to that level first because like it's hard to sell something if you are the asset,
Mm.
especially because you can't walk away. The business has to be worth something without you in it.
Mm.
So that's what B is that a business that has gone to the point that most of the operations of the business will be done fine without you. You're just a nice bonus. And then I, as an investor, just say you sold that business or you have money elsewhere and you're investing it and you're just a passive investor. You collect incomes from your investments, but you're not in the day-to-day operations of it. And what the Rich Dad Poor Dad explains is the goal is to try to move from the E or the S to the B and the I.
Oh.
Like most people start at the E. S is an improvement. And then, but if you're essentially creating your own job versus getting truly out of the race. And you want to move from S ideally to make your S bigger to become a B. And then and while the money you make either as an E, an S, or a B, you use it to become an I eventually.
Is that why people who win the lotto lose all their money? Because they don't make that journey naturally, and so they become an I, but they don't know they're an I, so they spend like an S. I mean, they spend like an E.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they don't. I mean, I think also they make bad investments. Just because you're an investor doesn't mean you're a good one. Like
Right,
if
but
all of your cousins have a
if you made
restaurant they want to
but
start,
if you made the journey yourself, um, uh, you would have acquired some skills and maybe some appreciation for the effort and hard work, and it'd be, but you know what I mean. There's a psychological component if you go from E to S to B to I,
yeah.
as opposed to
Same with
just knowing.
professional athletes.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah, right, right,
if you make a lot of money quickly,
yeah.
and actors and things like that, and it's also why you'd see a lot of left-wing politics and people in entertainment, because especially with acting, like, yeah, they're all talented, but for every A-list actor or actress, there's probably 10 people who are just as good as them who are waiters and waitresses in Beverly Hills.
Mm, mm.
And so as a result, it was kind of just chance that they were the ones who got picked. And they know that their money was kind of made more by chance, even if they don't logically know, but they intuitively know. They're like, wait, I didn't really quote unquote deserve this necessarily. So really anybody else who makes money is kind of that way too. And so it should be taxed because it's
This one's not going to be a popular one. The women I know who made their own money, sane. Like the rich women I know, very sane. The women I know who married rich, not so sane. Like they make the leap into that echelon of spending, and you know what I always think it is? They lose their purpose. They don't have purpose. They have more. There becomes an imbalance in what their purpose is in life versus their resources, as opposed to. And I just say women because it seems to happen more with women, right? Because they're courting men to get pregnant and have kids, and do what I think a healthy woman does is but it's a very interesting thing. People who don't earn their money, and it happens to men too. But I just seem to with women, it's a very I've seen some great examples. But same with men who didn't earn their money. Well, the spoiled kid, the trust fund kids, they're fucking
yeah.
wackadoodles. They have no direction and no
I think a lot of this also is
aspirational goals.
financial education. Like I've known plenty of people from privileged backgrounds who do just fine with money because their family educated them and they didn't give them everything. Like if you want to avoid having spoiled kids and you're a rich person, just have a lot of them.
Oh, you mean oh, wow. Oh, that's good.
Because I mean,
Wow.
I don't know. I grew up in a fairly well-to-do city
Uh-huh.
and
A
I had
very well-to-do city. Newport Beach is crazy.
but I was one of 5
Yeah.
siblings. So
Yeah.
like I probably would have been very spoiled if it was just me.
So a little benign neglect. I like that.
But like the fact that I would have to share things and have to learn how to get along with other people
Yeah.
and a variety of other things, I would have never had to if I didn't grow up with 3 sisters and a brother.
Right. Yeah, I like that. That's kind of like a cheat code.
Like that's the only people I know who grew up relatively well off, but um not even like or but like who are not spoiled. A lot of the humility is just from big large family dynamics.
Sarah Cox. Oh, this is the lady who owns a bunch of real estate in Newport Beach. This is the lady who lets me stay at her house in Newport Beach. Um, uh, uh, OC Real Estate is always a good investment. She's hot and she's smart too. That's another thing. And she's in good shape. Being sloppy is no good. Being rich and not healthy is not good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people do have to like if you're working long hours, it does have a cost at your health. And so if you make a lot of money, maybe you need to take a break from work and use that time to restore your health.
Correct. And you know what's interesting? When you said people need to take risks, she got wealthy taking like she had to put it on the line,
Yeah, if you really want to become wealthy, you got to put something on the line.
and she works
And
24 hours a day, and she did the risk.
you got to be smart about it though. Like
Yeah,
there's something called Field of Dreams entrepreneurship, which I think is kind of a I don't know if you've seen the movie Field of Dreams.
I have. Kevin
Okay.
Costner.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
came out a little around when I was a little before I was born, I think.
yeah.
But it's kind of this classic movie that most men of a certain age have watched. And the lesson is like from that movie is if you build it, they will come. And that's not how it works in business. And I learned it the hard way. I would build this thing, like mostly they didn't really cost too much, but I tried to build like these online type businesses when I was younger, or just try to do any sort of entrepreneurial venture. And I would just build this thing. And if there are no customers, no demand, it doesn't matter how great it is.
Right.
And you gotta like, so that's Field of Dreams economics, the mistake a lot of startups make. They try to build something before they have a proven level of demand or customers. And if for those people who are taking the plunge, the main risk is you want to avoid being a Field of Dreams entrepreneur.
Yeah, and that's why real estate's kind of the opposite of that. Not that I'm saying it's the end all, but like people are always going to want shelter.
Yeah. The question I have with real estate is when the baby boomer generation starts to die off, especially if we have lower immigration in this country, which I think we will on the net for the next at least 10 years or so, who is going to fill all these properties?
Well, I was watching some videos of that. You know what? It's really weird is whole cities decay. Like San Francisco's decaying. Like we saw it happen with Detroit, right? Detroit,
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
I did a video about that. Did you watch it?
No.
San Francisco is the next Detroit.
Oh, I can't wait to see. Yeah. Like
At least about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, maybe now. And yeah, it's playing out.
It's crazy because when there's that mall there, right? That's kind of like the epicenter of all of San Francisco. The Apple store's there, but there's that mall there, and the top 5 floors were a Nordstrom's with no doors, right? You know which mall I'm talking about? When that Nordstrom's left, I was like, oh fuck, that's it. I mean, that was like that represented the entire. I mean, it was just a crazy Nordstrom's because it just had no doors. You could go in and out. It was the whole top 5 floors of the mall. It was exquisite. People would just go there just to look at it. When that thing fucking left, I was like, oh my God. If San Francisco can't sustain that, they're toast.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised. I was there a few months ago, and like the whole downtown retail and office is like half of it's empty with 4 lease signs. And most restaurants are closing at like 9 o'clock, and it's the energy has shifted a lot there.
How stupid is maybe I should couch this differently because I know you like to walk a fine line. When Elon was interviewed, he said when he went to move the company out that Gavin never called him. Do you find that unbelievable?
No.
No?
Why? It's the government's responsibility to determine where businesses operate.
Not determined, but he's the caretaker of our state, right? So we can put our head down and work. And if the largest employer is thinking about packing up and leaving, you would think as the caretaker of the state, you would call him and at least like be like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? What happened? What went wrong? Why are you going to Texas?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think California really had a shortage of jobs, so I don't think it was a priority. Like especially in the Bay Area. Like, so I mean, I think that
you think if Apple said they were going to leave, I mean, fuck, they went to. I mean, a huge chunk of them went to Texas.
I mean,
you think
California? The main concern, really, I guess, actually, maybe he should have, because California's state tax revenue is primarily driven by capital gains on technology companies.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
So, like a lot of these companies, whether they're startups who sell from acquisition or the publicly traded ones where companies sell their stock comp, that's a big driver of how California has managed to maintain its budget, because the growth of these companies has been able to catch up with the largesse of the spending in this state. And that's how they've been able to keep things afloat. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that I don't really know what percentage of the employees ended up moving out of California, even if the corporate headquarters moved to Texas. If a lot of the California employees are still there, it's not as bad of a hit as perceived.
Gotcha.
And
I don't think he's a big fan of remote working. But I
no,
but I
but
s
like
but I don't know the
they
numbers.
still have their office and their factory there. Like you can move your company without moving. Like Southern California, like used to be a lot of companies headquartered in LA, and they keep a lot of their LA offices, but they move their headquarters to Texas so they don't have to pay the corporate taxes.
Okay. Okay.
Like
I see what you're
Dallas
saying.
is filled with a lot of ex-LA companies who've relocated their headquarters. Like for the city being the second biggest metropolitan area in America, Los Angeles has a surprisingly small amount of a Fortune 500 company headquarters, and that's because of the state tax issue and regulatory issue.
You think California's being run poorly?
It's pretty obvious that California is being run poorly.
Yeah.
You don't need me to say that.
But I'd like to get another opinion. Would you ever run for political office, Nick?
I've thought about it, but there's a few things that would probably stop me from doing it right now. One, I need to get my business up to a certain level that I'm fully financially independent. Because if I run for office, it would probably could jeopardize like my future income beyond politics.
Right.
And two, I'd like to have a family first, like because like I don't think you'd want to put like a young wife and kids through the political campaign grind.
Mm.
I think if I want to be in politics, I think I'd want to be in an appointed cabinet position.
Mm.
So like of some sort, because and also I live in California and my politics is probably hard to win in this state. Like especially on a statewide level. Maybe in Orange County, I could probably win, but also the money required. Like I don't really want to be beholden to special interests.
Mm.
And if you want to run a congressional campaign in Orange County, like you need to raise at least $10 million
To run?
to win.
Oh, to win. Wow.
And like in my district, like the Democrats spent over $20 million, I think, in the last two election cycles for the congressional seat because it's a swing district. And so I'm going to need some deep pockets, and either I'm going to need to have my own. And if I work hard enough that I'm able to net $20 million after taxes and expenses and everything, what I really want to just throw that all into a campaign and have to start back at zero.
Maybe if you have some sort of like enlightenment, like if you go into like a Gandhi phase of your life, like a servitude phase.
Or the other thing is, or I'd have to take a lot of donor money, which means then I'm compromised to a certain degree.
Right.
Unless if I found donors that were perfectly aligned with my goals, which there could be some. I don't know if there's enough for me to run a large campaign. I don't really like the idea of being involved in elections. They're just dirty business, and I'm not really good at lying or misleading people. That's not my thing. And you kind of have to. I'm probably too honest. I'd probably say something that would alienate a lot of the voters. To be quite so, I'd rather if I was going to get involved, it'd be probably from as a policy advisor for a campaign, or like a appointed cabinet position, or as like a prominent party donor who like has a voice because I'm disproportionately contributing to other people's campaigns.
Hey, there's that wildly popular thing floats around social media that if you just jump on Nancy Pelosi's, I guess there's some site that shows everything that she invests in.
Yeah,
And
she has disproportionately high returns.
So is that, I know you can't give it financial advice, but if someone like me were to have taken like $100,000 and invest in everything she did, the truth is I would have made out pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you would have had very high returns. The question is that sustainable? And now that everybody can copy it just with a simple digital app, the alpha may not be there anymore. But I have no opinion on it one way or the other.
Gotcha. But she's good at investing.
I mean, the thing is that about insider trading in Congress.
Like
So
you find out stuff. You find out that the U.S. government's going to buy 1,000 vans, and so you invest in the company that's making the vans.
Do you call that good at investing, or do you call it corruption?
Right.
like
It could be both.
it could be, yeah. So, I mean, you had stories about Hillary Clinton making a bunch of money trading cattle back in when she was the first lady of Arkansas. Is Hillary Clinton the world's best cattle trader, or there's something else going on there?
Okay. Let me ask you this, Nick. What about flying cars?
I'd love it to have flying cars coming.
Do you think?
That's a political question. Same with driverless cars. Like technology is there. It's just a matter of will regulators allow it, and it's not really just a purely R versus D thing. It's like you don't want to be the government that allows these things and then people die in crashes and have your blood on your hands. That's what it's more about. People are scared to see the risks of people getting killed from accidents related to flying cars or driverless cars. But I
Yeah,
look
I
forward to
wouldn't
the
go up
day
in
where
one. I wouldn't
what?
go up in one. I wouldn't go up in one. I'd be too scared. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like one of those old people that's like afraid of a remote control. You know what I mean? Like I don't even have a microwave. But I see more and more flying cars and they look really nice. And I own a bunch of really nice drones. And man, the technology is absolutely insane. Any jackass could fly a high-end drone now.
Yeah, I mean, it depends like on the cost relative
Yeah.
to me driving
Yeah.
and how much time it saves me. But I mean, I think that one day I would do it. I mean, with terms of autonomous cars, I would already do it. I've done the Waymo when I was up in San Francisco,
Yeah.
and I was impressed. It's way better than an Uber ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a good investment?
It's owned by Google, so like, yeah, they're not an independent company.
What about a competitor to Google? Do you think that there's ever a time in our near future where someone launches a new email, a new search engine, and maybe a new phone, like
Well,
a
with
whole
ChatGPT,
chat? What do you mean? I think what do you mean? I'm not following you.
I mean, the LLMs are effectively competitors to search.
What's the acronym you use? LLMs? What's
Yeah,
that?
large language models.
So people are using ChatGPT at
Like
a
instead of
growing.
searching like on Google, like what's the capital of Wisconsin, you could type it into ChatGPT. It'd be like, what is the, and it will answer it for you. And like, why is Madison the capital of Wisconsin? You could search that on Google, and it will give you like links to like some Wikipedia articles or other things that show you the history of the state of Wisconsin. Whereas if you ask that question to ChatGPT, it will just write you a paragraph explaining why Madison is the capital of Wisconsin. And so instead of having to search all these websites and read the answer yourself, ChatGPT will just give you a conversation, will write an answer, and you can have a conversation with it. You could be like, yeah. And then like, and after it answers that question, you'll be like, okay, so if I was going to go visit Wisconsin this summer, what are some activities I would do? And it would give you like some recommendations, and it'd be like, what is the best way to fly there? And it'd be like you go through this airport and you can click on this link. Yeah, it's like talking to somebody
So
more
you're
than
telling me I'm stuck back in time? I just aged myself to you? There
you
are
haven't
people already.
you don't use ChatGPT or
No, never.
oh, you're about like 2.5 years behind the world.
So if you want to know what's playing at the local movie theater, you use Chat. Like yesterday, I went to Google and I was trying to see if there's any movies to take my kids to because it's raining. I went to
No,
Google.
no,
No,
I don't really use it for that
oh,
necessarily. Probably Google's still better for finding movie times. But like in terms of like asking like questions for things, like, and it can do other things too. I did a whole video about ChatGPT. My most recent video on my channel is I brought on one of my colleagues where we talked about the potential of AI technology. I recommend everybody to watch that because it's going to be able to do things like your kids can have the ChatGPT do their homework for them. You could
is
say
this?
like,
So you go to this website here?
yeah, it's $20 a month for the one that works. Well,
This?
yes.
So when I'm going to Google, you go to this website.
Yeah, depending on the type of search. I use Google for some things. I use ChatGPT for other things. So
Where do you type your shit in?
he'll continue.
Oh. God, I did get old. I tried to hook my kid's Switch up to the TV the other day. I couldn't figure out how the remotes work. Wow. Hey, please write 1,000-word essay on American Revolution. Oh, then you just type the shit in here? Oh, no,
Yeah.
keep continuing.
Yeah, you just need to skip through all the intro stuff.
And you use this on your phone too?
Yeah, you can use it on your phone.
Who owns this?
OpenAI, which and Microsoft owns a big chunk of it, of OpenAI.
So that's kind of a misnomer too, the name that they call it OpenAI.
Well, it was originally started as a nonprofit, but that designation is kind of being a little bit challenged.
Wow, crazy. All right, how are you on time? I got one more question for you.
Okay, I can answer one more question.
Okay, you're a good dude, Nick. Recently I'm starting to realize that my dad's not going to leave me any money for inheritance, which is fine.
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with him though? Isn't that the whole point? Like I honestly don't care, but like he's talking about donating it to some charity. I'm like, why would you donate it to some charity? You have grandkids, you have like, what's the psychology there? Is it because I voted for Trump? And
I don't know your family dynamics. So I think it's all on an individual personal level. Like, but you are seeing like with this generation, it's 20% of assets are expected to be donated to charities instead of being passed down to heirs. And some people think, oh, your kids should make their own money. It's not my responsibility.
I already made my own money. Give it to me. Like, wasn't that the whole point of having me?
Some people, it's family ties and like culture. Like, I mean, I know like when I have that point, I'd probably give most of it to my kids. I'd probably donate some to charities or some to the church. But
you would only donate to charity if it made economic sense, right?
No, there's some. It's not really an economic thing for me. It's like a right thing to do thing. But you would still give the majority to your children. If you like, the thing is that assuming you have a good relationship with your children, maybe. I mean, do you have siblings? Is your dad going to give any money to your brothers or sisters?
No, I don't think so. And I have a good relationship with them. But he keeps saying to me like, hey, I'm going to donate all this money. I'm going to give all this land and property I have to, unless
why doesn't he give it to your children?
I have fucking no idea. I have the greatest kids in the world too. They're like the perfect grandkids.
I'd probably they'd probably benefit the most from it.
Should I say something to him? Should I be like, hey, dude,
this is again, you have to ask him just why. Why is he doing it?
Yeah.
And like,
he's going to give it to like some charity in Armenia.
Yeah. I mean, and like, I think that if anything, I don't know if I was in his situation, assuming his kids are already well off, he maybe thinks, oh, you guys are fine. You don't need the money.
No, we need it. We need it.
But yeah, you have to, it's his personal motivations there. Some people think that you should have to make your own money. Others think that the charity could use it more. So others think that
you should have. I think you should have to make your own money. I think, but I think it's also smart to give money to your kids, especially like in California. Like you should leave your kid a house or something so that they, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think if family, like that's how wealth is built. Like for most people, is over multiple generations. The estate tax kind of limits that to a certain degree, but like generational wealth is how the middle class builds wealth in the long term, because sometimes it takes more than a lifetime to move up the social ladder. Did your parents grow up here, or are they immigrants from Armenia?
They're immigrants. My mom's first generation here, but my mom will leave her shit to us.
Okay.
Like my mom will leave like whatever she has to us, but I just don't understand my dad. I'm just like, hey, dude,
it's a personal thing. He maybe, I don't know. Maybe he just feels like the charity needs it more, or maybe he secretly does feel like his kids got spoiled. I don't know his motives. I don't know your father.
I'm gonna cremate him and throw him in the ocean if he doesn't leave me money.
If I were you, I would try to, if you really think this is a problem, I would try to suggest him to give it to your children and your siblings' kids, all his grandkids, just split it across the board, or even do a portion. Say, look, give half of it to the charity Armenia and half of it to your grandkids.
Yeah, that's that, and he does really like. He really does like my kids. I think he likes my kids more than he likes me. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that's a good strategy. I just don't.
And also, like that, like if the grandkids will be at a younger age, they could use the money to buy their first house or to pay for their wedding or to, like, or send their kids to private schools or use it for things. Whereas like you've already done all that, so you don't need it as much.
I don't know if this is good math, Nick, but instead of buying my wife a wedding ring or us having a wedding, I just put, when the kids were born, I just put $10,000 in the most aggressive mutual fund I could find for each kid. And I figured it'll be $11 million by the time they're 77 if it doubles every 7 years. So my wife doesn't even have a wedding ring, nor did we have a wedding. We just went to the courthouse.
I don't know. I think there's a sentimental and spiritual value to having a wedding, but there is interesting statistics on this, though. I think I talked about it on my video on marriage.
Yeah.
The bigger wedding you have, in terms of number of people, the more likely is to succeed your marriage in the long run. But the more money you spend on a wedding, the more likely it's going to fail.
Oh.
So you want a lot of people to show up, but not spend too much money is kind of the strategy if you're trying to play
it. Are you Jewish?
No, I'm Catholic.
Italian Catholic.
Yeah, I'm Swiss and Italian and Portuguese by ethnic background.
Yeah. Hey, really great having you on, dude. What a unique character you are. What a unique person you are. I hope when I'm gonna be in Newport in a month, maybe we could catch it. Do you drink spicy margaritas?
I don't drink alcohol, but I'm down to getting something to eat for a happy hour.
Yeah, awesome, cool. And maybe I'll bring Anomaly around. I'll send you a link to his page. He's a really cool dude. Is focused you are on finances. He is on politics, but he's very like open. He's not off the deep end like myself.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. And great YouTube channel. Congratulations on the growth. Great content. Really enjoyable stuff. Thank you.
Thanks. If you want to find me, go to Analyzing Finance with Nick on YouTube or my website, nickpardini.com.
Awesome, brother. All right. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Ciao. That guy gets his own category of guest, I guess. That was very that was unique. I had to learn his cadence. God, I hate Reddit. My God, I hate Reddit. Ugh. Oh, yeah. Jesus criminy, I hate Reddit. Let me see this. Working on a we're working on a Patrick Rios is working on a like an intro for every show. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Can you guys hear this? No, you can't hear it. Let me see if I can. It's crazy. Technological knowledge is. I'm able to pull this off. How about this? This is for the homies. Bam, we're live. Stefan, have you checked out Pete Bass? They have an album? No, that's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you, Mr. Weed. Yes, that's crazy. I got to pee. I got some stuff I got to tell you guys. Some stuff I want to share. If you didn't see the new Dents update, you got to see it. I want to play a little piece of it. Yeah, Rios, that's good. Yeah, something's still not right, but it's good. It's really good. That's like his 8th iteration. There needs to be a quote or something. I don't know. Maybe it needs to be longer. I don't know. Oh, Matt, you don't like it? I like it. What don't you like about it? You don't like the music? You think you just went deaf? It needs to be lower? Maybe. Excuse me. I burped. Let me tell you guys a little bit about why you should go to your local affiliate. And then which one should I play? First place? Second place? How about this one here? Born Primitive? No. Wheelwad? No. Exerciser? No. Okay, this one. All right, I'll see you guys in a minute.
my experience was, I told her, you build one in Portland and I'll start. Coming from a bad back, not really able to move. Doctors said medication probably until you can't take it, then we'll do surgery. So that was kind of what motivated me to get into it. So a year into CrossFit, probably one of the best shape of my life. I was diagnosed with cancer, and we got through it. You push through these things that I always joked. I was like, okay, here we go through, what was it, 35 rounds of radiation? 3 rounds of chemo. I said, here we go, 3, 2, 1, go. It's like a workout. Let's get through it, you know?
There's no doubt. I've been in oncology, radiation oncology for over 30 years. With what he was up against, there's no doubt in my mind, if it wouldn't have been for CrossFit and the way he was, we built him up and how strong he was, he wouldn't be here today.
Oh shit, I left my glasses outside. It's pouring. Can't believe I left my glasses outside. Why all CrossFitters always crying? I don't know, you tell me. You cry every day. I saw that the No Rep show with Hiller on there. I think I saw it did 10 times as good as any other previous show. So congratulations to Andrew for bringing it. There's some shit I want to show you guys. View your channel, comments. Where do I go to? Comments? I want to show you something. Oh, Scorched Earth. There we go. New, sort by newest. Okay, here we go. Let me pull up these comments. I hadn't even seen this one. This one's new. What is this? First of all, in your case, it's non-information after non-information. When it's the most ridiculous disinformation, your podcast really looks like a Trump rally. Second of all, how can we expect something true from MAGA anti-vax? So listen, that when you say stuff like anti-vax, it just shows that you're an NPC. Anti-vax. The world doesn't work like that. I'm not anti-vax. You're pro-vax. That doesn't make me anti-vax because you're pro-vax. Like, I don't give a fuck what you do. I'm not anti-vax. You don't even know what you're talking about. Who believes that cultural Marxism exists? I don't know what you're talking about. Man, I'm seeing the thing from outside the U.S. and you are down for a ride with a senile Trump and crazy billionaire who is more lucky than successful. Oh. Elon was just lucky? That's awesome. You are really fucked. Don't bother, Sevon. I'm not a hater. Just want to come back here and laugh out loud when you realize how wrong you were. Well, it's over. It was over with Greg, not because of George Floyd. That unleashed your anti-woke anger, anti-democratic conservatism, and you. My man will be over with it soon. The perfect storm is really coming, and I will laugh. Not because I hate you, just because you are a bad person. You and your MAGA guys are just bad persons. You are doomed, my man. Oh. Okay. That wasn't what I was going to read you. This is it. So in this episode, I was talking, basically someone posted on Instagram that Patrick Clark was taking clips from my video and sending them around to garner hate against me, to build hate up against me. So he was going out, he was parading as my buddy in the comments and in my text messages, but also he was going behind, I wouldn't say going behind my back, and you can text anyone you want. Just because you text someone without telling me doesn't mean you're going behind my back. But basically, he was taking clips from the show and sending them to this white lady who's married to a black guy to make the black guy try to hate me like I was somehow negative towards black people, which is just completely retarded. But he writes, at the end of the day, someone said he considered me a friend, which I do of him, and also considered calling, and he also considered calling me, but he didn't. And he also didn't. Well, anyway, that's true. His way of getting information or resolving any potential conflict is to presume things and come up with ridiculous narratives. I didn't presume it. It was written on Instagram. So the only thing I presumed is that the black guy who said that you were DMing his wife, that King Des guy, I'm only presuming that what he wrote there is the truth. And you're not refuting that, so I'm going to go on to say it's even more true. But I understand how you would be butthurt that guy and his wife outed you with ridiculous narratives for the sake of views. Now, this is the part that's trippy, for the sake of views. And this is probably where the other guy doesn't understand me either. Shows his priorities, views, friendship. My priorities over views over friendship. Listen, Patrick. I don't give a fuck about doing things for views. I enjoy big views. I get excited when I do big views. I would have never started this station the way I did for views. And it was you who was predicting that I would never get over 15,000 subscribers early on. It was you who was talking shit from day one, which I didn't care. I didn't dislike you for it. But don't bring your fucking views bullshit here, dude. When you and everyone else was being just fucking woke, complete fucking pussies and cowards, like this guy up here, this beta up here, beta Euro, I was fucking telling the truth. And so don't think I do any of this for views, you jackass. That's what you and your buddy, well, I don't know about you, but that's what your buddy Brian Friend tried to do. He tried to surf both sides. He tried to play both sides with no moral values, no conviction, he did it under this false pretense that I just want what's best for the sport. Well, fuck you, dude. I just want to be me. And so when you say this dumbass shit like I do stuff for views over friendship, you are a world-class moron, dude. You went to this fucking guy's wife like a cuck because you probably are only friends with her because she has a black husband. You went to her and sent him a fucking a DM with clips of my show to try to make me look bad, and it backfired on you. You look like a complete fucking jackass. You're a slave master. You want to keep fucking the homies on the plantation. I get it. I called you out on it. You're fucking pissed. So you're trying to fucking flip the script and say I do shit for views. Listen, dude, I don't do any of it for views. I do it because I fucking love it. I wake up every morning and I do it for that reason. You jackass. You ding dong. You homie, like Pac said, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you either. But don't your whole thing is just full of presuppositions based on the fucking loser that you hang out with, which is Brian Friend. I mean, he's not objectively a loser, just compared to me, he's a loser. Relatively, contextually. And that's why what this fucking jackass says makes no sense either, this faceplant 4321 dude. Dude, can you imagine writing all that to me and then editing it? Is that a Euro? Can you imagine thinking that I'm anti-vax, you jackass? I don't care what you do, dude. You can inject anything you want into your body or your kids. And by the way, when you say you're anti-MAGA or you're anti-vax or all that, you should know that there is a very good, you are defending, you are going after a party or a group of people who have no tolerance for pedophilia. And so you should know that there's a strong implication anytime you do that you're a pedophile. Or that you would like to harbor pedophiles, that you're okay with them. You want sanctuary cities for pedophiles. You should know that it's not even a little bit anymore. It's a pretty serious implication. And so you might as much as I know that I fucking must have crazy got under your skin and you hate fucking how popular the show is. You should just know that that's forever. Even if you erase that, that's on the Wayback Machine. And nobody, and just so you know, it doesn't matter to me. Unlike if YouTube goes away or Kamala got elected, or to me personally, doesn't matter. I have my little boblito. But this is just crazy, Patrick. You're nuts. You're nuts if you think this is just you being a baby. Shows his priority is views over friendship. Like you're like, what an incredible fucking script you just flipped. Don't forget, dude, you're the one who sent I'm the one who from day one has been doing me, and it wasn't popular, and it scared your little buddy Brian. That's why he had to run to Morning Chalk Up and talking Elite Fitness and Bar Bend, and he's running to every crevice and trying to get over the fence into HQ. Don't forget. And I took the unpopular route. Don't try to flip the populace. Don't try to flip the populist thing on me. I ain't fucking with that. That's just stupid. That's just retarded. Views. I like the views. It's fun. It's fun like when I see like I have a big day. It's cool. I'm like, yeah, bitch, blow me. But I'm not I didn't have Nick Paradino on for views today. Douche canoe. Tell me I did it for views over friendship. But also I think what you meant to say, by the way, is everything is just content. And sometimes you have to be tactful and respectful, and then other times it's just like that you went too far. And hey, I think that dude, I think that you really did say that to that King dude. And if I'm wrong, I'll apologize to you. But I don't think I'm wrong. How else would that dude just went out on a limb and posted that shit? That means you were up in his shit, or his wife's shit. Okay, I want to show you this video that I saw this morning. Thank God it's on my station so I can play it for you. This is some really good shit here. Where's this video? This is made by Dense Updates. This is kind of crazy. Hey. This is kind of crazy. And she got a new microphone, which is dope. Okay. Okay, here we go.
Y'all, we are back with another Dense update. Here we go. In case you missed it the other day, Gabby Magala posted to her Instagram that she has undergone surgery to repair her Achilles tendon. Many athletes in the community took to the comment section to wish her all the best in her road to recovery.
Okay, so Gabby's out of surgery. Oh, there's an echo? Son of a bitch. Thank you. So I have to switch now to this and this. Okay.
We were all really rooting for Gabby at Rogue Invitational this year. She started off so strong. No doubt she would have been on that podium. Wishing her a speedy recovery. Can't wait to see her back on the competition floor.
Is the echo away?
Y'all know that Gabby was in a relationship with Laura Horvath's brother.
Is the echo away? Because this is the important part. You guys ready for this part? Yes. Okay, it's gone. Okay, here we go.
Christoph Horvath, and I noticed this weekend that he had posted to his Instagram, being present is the greatest gift I can give to myself. Now, I'm not really sure how long Christoph and Gabby were in an intimate relationship, but it's only been about 4 months. She just had a major surgery from an injury at a huge competition. You were there. And you just feel like it's a good idea to slide in a naked picture of your new chick.
Oh my God. So so I heard Christoph has pulled this down since this went up. And so I'm going to need a little help here. Is this a shoulder? What am I looking at? Is she in a closet changing and there's a light in the closet? What the fuck is that a shoulder right there? Someone help me out here. What is that? Is that a shoulder and that's just a huge cannonball ass right there? Just an insane ass? What someone help me out here with one. And is this her neck and it's turned to the side like this? I cannot fucking yeah, that's a tan line. Okay, so that is the butt. Okay, and then what is this? This is like under here of her left arm. Crack door view from the rear. Okay, but what's her and that's a butt. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, thank you. Huge dumper. Yeah, it's a crazy dumper, right? It's fucking crazy. Oh, there's more to this story. Wait, this story gets good. I don't know if he's a goofy dude. You think he's a goofy dude? He's a fucking... I never thought of Christoph as goofy. That's mad creepy though. I don't know. He's just... Here's the thing. It's just it's tough timing to already if you've been with Gabby and then 3 months later she's injured and you're showing pictures of your new beef. But you know, his new girl may have demanded it. You know that, right? You know, there's couples like that these days. They're just man. So help me out here. So this is the butt. These are the legs down here. This is the shoulder. This is just a fucking crazy cannonball shoulder. Like she's like that's that thing. Like what the fuck is that thing up there? What is that? You think it's Con Porter? That might be Con Porter. Yeah, I don't think it's creepy at all. How is that creepy? I think it's better. I think a better present might be the naked chick. Are we sure that's not a dude? I mean, that weight. I mean, that waist and that back doesn't look like a dude. I know that butt. 100% Laura. That is not Laura's butt, dude. You're crazy. Of course, known and knowable likes it. Oh, really? Halpin liked it? What a scumbag. 100% a guy. We're all gay. I mean, I mean, I'll come back to that. Who cares? We have no idea when they even broke up. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so let's move on. You're right. Thank you. Okay, here we go. But there's more though. Here, you guys are gonna love this bit. This bit is crazy. Here we go.
Classy. Some might say that was too soon.
Okay. So here's another piece of evidence the dense update shows. So we got a picture of her. I don't know if that's a closet or what's going on, but we have that picture of her incredible ass, and now we have this picture of the back of her hair, right? And Dense is like, hey, maybe that was too soon. Show a little class.
But I guess since it was really easy for you to just walk away from a relationship and leave her hanging and ghosted at the games just because she decided she still wanted to compete and honor Lazar in her way, and that wasn't okay with you guys, then this doesn't really surprise me. We don't know who the mystery lady is, but maybe somebody will put 2 and 2 together and figure it out.
Well. Funny Jenny should mention that. Yesterday, private investigator, where's my fucking notes? So I guess he's taken that down. Let me see. Let me go to Instagram. I guess that's down. Oh, maybe I've been let me see. Let's see. Okay, so the oh, maybe it's not down. That's Laura. God, he does take some. These are some great pictures. Oh shit. The shower photo is down. Oh, that's a great picture too. Dang. These are great pictures. But see this foot right here and see this toe, how it curves in like this right here? See that? See that? Okay. So you guys see that toe. So that toe looks like it. Just remember that toe. Okay. You can't just take a photo down. You can't, like in a series. Maybe he reposted. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, how did he do that? Maybe he knows someone who works at Instagram and they could do it. Is that the same post? Being present is the greatest gift I can give to myself. Being present. Let me tell you, fucking some sweet new pussy is the greatest gift you can give yourself. What do you mean talking about the present? The present with some new pussies sounds pretty good too. What are you talking about? She's showering. She's showering. That is the shower head and water. All right. Foot pics with Sevi. Yeah. You wait. James Hobart II. Maybe you are the world's greatest detective. I'm Inspector Gadget. Okay. So then we go over here to drafts. Let me see my notes here. So someone went through the Instagram account and pulled up a variety of accounts of these are some of the chicks that follow Christoph that we were thinking maybe someone was speculating it would be. So you got this one, right? And then there was let me see if I can pull it. And then there was this one. And then the list goes on and on. There's more and more. But then this is by the way, this is why Europeans are so different than Americans. I think this is the chick. Someone actually said, "Hey, this is the chick he's dating." And you can tell by the feet. But I just want to point out that outfit is not working. Jesus is coming. None of this matters. Oh, all right. Thank you. This. Yeah, this. So, listen, girls. You never want to wear an outfit that pulls your tits apart or pulls them down. They can be natural. They can be pushed up. They can be pushed together, but they're never to be pulled apart or down. You understand? I'm just telling you, because this chick's actually, I think this is his chick. And so and there's I think this is his chick. This is the professional ski. She's a professional skier, or is that skiing? I don't know what the fuck that's called. Luging, skiing, whatever that is. Ski cross. She does ski cross. This Alana Lori. I think Christoph's putting it to this chick. But I thought it was important to do a PSA that you never pull the titties down or apart. Titties go in 3 directions, 3 of the 5 directions. Together, up, or left alone. That's it. The girl in the shower is jacked as fuck. Yeah. So I mean, and I think look, she got a little CrossFit. I think she got a huge. I mean, skiers have huge cannonball asses, right? I think it's okay to just go ahead and pull this one down. You know what I mean? I think just pull that one down. It's fine. I mean, but yeah, he got some new beef. Crazy. After the Denise update went up, I think that got he probably like, you know, he's probably just excited. He got, you know, ejaculating with a new companion, as I recall, it's been forever for me. Has its own little bit of excitement, you know, as opposed to, you know, just your regular chick, your day girl. So, oh, that's not her. You don't think that's her? That's her. That's definitely her. You're out of your mind. Yeah. There's a someone sent me a crazy picture of Gabby's body. I don't even remember what I did with it. Anyway, I think maybe there was one more piece to this story. Let me see if I can. Oh, so Elliot Simmons wrote in the comments of that post, there appears to be a bottom in one of your photos, just letting you know. Whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. Like, is he saying like you should take it out? But I think the fucked up toe comes from those ski boots. That's another you know, that's another indication that that was the right girl. Oh, someone did say that Christoph took down the last picture of the carousel. And hey, that guy who left the comment on YouTube, just so you know, one of the us MAGA extremists, do what you want, love everyone people, us freedom folk, who think that you should be allowed to get whatever vaccine or do whatever you want, except for what they do in Canada, assisted suicide's up like 10,000%. Just so you know, we are going to come after pedos with a vengeance. So clean you guys up a little bit. You're just a little tighten you up a little bit. Take you out of the school system. Put you back. You can run back into the cracks that you want. Yeah, clock. Do whatever you want. It's do whatever you want, MAGA. It is do whatever you want, MAGA. Tell me something you can't do. Tell me. Go ahead. Can't diddle kids? You're right. You win. You win. Sorry. You're right. Do whatever you want except diddle kids, MAGA. I'll take it. Oh, man. What is this? What is this? God, what is this? Let me see what's going on here. Barbell spin. Did CrossFit fall into the Bud Light and Jaguar trap? In recent days, CrossFit HQ outlined their actions following the investigation into Lazarus' death and shared their vision for the upcoming season. The fallout has been significant. No, it hasn't. Athletes, brands, and community members alike are hinting at jumping ship. Boo-bye. Notable. It's significant in the sense that I love it. Notable names include Chandler Smith, adios, Emma McQuaid, boo-bye, and Luka Jukic. Did he ever even make it to the games? Have voiced concerns of discontent. It's hard not to reflect on how we got here. Just 8 or 10 years ago, CrossFit and its community were on a hockey stick trajectory. Look at when it's convenient, it's CrossFit in the community, but when it's not convenient, when it's convenient, the games in the community are won. When it's not convenient, the games are on the outside. The momentum took a hit after the infamous media cuts and the departure of founder Greg Glassman, but even such a loyal and passionate base, why couldn't the new ownership CrossFit glue it all back together again? The question leads me to a tangential but illuminating example. The other day, Jaguar unveiled a rebrand, opting for a sleek new logo and exuberant modernism aesthetic. Who wrote this? Oh, Tyler Watkins. Okay. Each of these companies launched their initiatives aimed at broadening their appeal. Now let's pivot to the unusual but surprising relevant comparison, the grunge movement in the 90s. How does this relate to CrossFit? Oh, here it is. Since its sale of private equity, CrossFit is focused on broadening its appeal, trying to make its sport methodology more digestible for a wider audience. While I understand the intent, the result has mirrored those brands' missteps, alienating the loyal base. There it is. That built CrossFit into what it was. Yeah, never leave the base. There it is. Yeah, we got to cull the herd, dude. CrossFit is still a young brand. It rose quickly, but hadn't fully defined itself before it tried to change course. In my opinion, it needed more time to stew to establish its culture more firmly. So when I see people jumping ship, I say, good, burn it to the ground. This could be CrossFit's opportunity to return to its roots. Yeah, I agree 100%. CrossFit's best days aren't behind us. They're ahead if we're bold enough to take the necessary steps. Yeah, I 100% agree. Listen, dude, there was a time, you have to remember, there was a time when we were doing CrossFit where it was Spieler. Now, like, no one knows who Spieler is. And we're in a time where people are going to ask us in 30 years, holy fuck, how did you, it's going to be like, when I went to Germany, I remember talking to some old people there and being like, how the fuck did that happen? How did you guys let them start burning the Jews? And then I had to fucking listen to him talk for 4 hours. I wish I wouldn't have asked that question. But we're in that time. We're in that time where people are going to be like, how the fuck were you killing babies, forcing 6-month-old kids to take injections in order to go to school? I mean, just remember the lobotomy. Like, now we ask our parents, how did you live in a time when they did lobotomies? They took a fucking screwdriver and fucking banged it into people's head as a surgical procedure. We're in that time. We're coming out of that time where people are going to look back at the last 8 years and be like, what the fuck? They're going to say to me, my kids are going to say to me, or my grandkids, Heidi, what was it like living there? What was wrong? I'm going to be like, well, I was one of the few people that ever spoke up. Everyone else was a pussy. It's crazy. And there's people who still think it's like somehow dark that Trump won. But what's crazy is you know what's nuts? Things aren't perfect, right? Obviously, things aren't perfect. Let me show you this. Do you know about Trump's appointment to Surgeon General? Yeah, look at this. Like this isn't good. Like, this isn't good. Here we go. Watch this.
You didn't see this? New Surgeon General just dropped. Let's see who Trump picked.
A trial of 10,000 participants. This was just posted on the CDC website that showed those who had a third dose, a booster shot, had significantly more improvement, more protection, more antibodies than those who did not have that third dose. So we definitely know, especially going into the winter holidays, having that extra protection can help minimize infection, can help minimize spread. So if you are especially over the age of 50, the CDC now recommends you should definitely get a booster. But over the age of 18, you can definitely get one as well, especially if you have asthma, diabetes, obesity.
Interesting. Why in the world would we want that person to be our Surgeon General? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. I know this isn't going to be a super popular video for some of you guys because I know that some of you guys think that this guy is your savior. He's not. And let me just remind you that to this day, he still brags about the fact that he was the one behind Warp Speed.
Fuck you. Trump's the greatest. Don't you dare say anything bad about him. He's the greatest. Yeah, things aren't perfect, man. Everything's not like perfect. It's not going to fucking be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And, you know, a lot of people are already saying that person has changed their position and blah, blah, blah. But listen, Mr. whatever your name is who posted on Facebook, this was our Assistant Secretary for Health in the United States Department of Human Health. That's who it is right now. We have a fucking tranny. We have a drug addict in the position now. Trish, how stupid are you that I'm showing you that? How could that be me if I'm showing you that? It reminds me of like we used to go to Haley was a vegan for a long time, and she'd be eating a steak in front of Greg, and he'd be making fun of her for still being a vegan, and she'd be like, "No, Greg, I eat meat now." That went on for like 2 years. It was so weird. How can you say that's me when I just showed you that video? Yeah, totally. Trish is totally triggered. I agree. 100%. She's not Rachel Levine, so it's progress. Loser talk. Shut the fuck up, dude. Let me tell you something. You'd rather have a fucking creepy old man flirt with your daughter than your fucking Uncle Buck fucking stick his dick in her ass. And if you can't see the fucking distinction, I feel sorry for your fucking daughter. There's a big fucking difference. Now, don't get me wrong. It's fucking ridiculous. It is truly ridiculous that there's drugs being supported by the Surgeon General for kids or anyone that kills them without being honest about it. I get it. The Surgeon General should be like, "Hey, where'd the flu go?" Like, hey, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what happened. I'm not suggesting that there shouldn't be some honesty. All right. There should just be freedom, and it's okay that people have different opinions and different ideas and thoughts. It's them being forced down other people's throats where it starts getting a little weird, and where it's been for many years, especially start of the pandemic. That shit got crazy. This is I wonder if this is true. I wonder what's going on here. I wonder if Patrick Clark's going to get kicked out of the military. President Trump to remove transgender service members from military on day one, says a report. I read this thing yesterday that trannies are non-deployable and non-trainable. That because you're not even allowed to train them. They can get in, but once they start to transition, they're no longer trained or allowed to deploy. What the fuck are they doing in the military? Sevi, do you think Don Jr. was rubbing coke on his gums in the video that got posted last week? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't think he did Murph in 30 minutes or whatever. That's for sure. Same reason guys on TRT can't deploy. Is that true? Makes sense.
MAGA men find attractive so that I can wear the complete opposite.
Just wear what you've been wearing. You'll be all right.
What MAGA men find attractive so that I can wear the complete opposite.
How is a dude with the ugliest tattoos all over his fucking face better looking? Like this guy's 100 times better looking than the girl.
Just wear what you've been wearing. You'll be all right.
Hey, I know that chick's ugly, and I know most of you are like, hey, no one fucks her anyway, but like that's what's so crazy about humanity. There's someone who wants to fuck everybody. I mean, if you're a woman, like if you're a woman, there's like
What?
Like there's dick chasing this around all day. Like that chick on an aircraft carrier, she's a 10.
MAGA men find attractive so that I can wear the complete opposite.
It's crazy. I know, true. It's right. It's true. So like we can joke around all we want about all these bitches being fat and ugly and fucked up and all that, but the truth is there's just a huge cohort of dudes who are trying to put the D in that. Sevon thinks Sporty Beth is hot, so that's accurate. Now listen, that's a little I don't want to say that's misinformation. But I said she has the nicest tits in the CrossFit space, and that I don't find her fucking huge fucking tuna head. What are those giant fish in the ocean that they catch? I don't find her giant fucking Inspector Gadget fucking triple chin head attractive. I'm just saying she got a nice Sporty Beth got a really nice set of hammers. That's it. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Yeah, there's dudes out there who will fucking pursue anything, just pursue anything with a hole. I mean, I found this clip of Heidi doing stand-up. When were you going to tell us, Heidi?
I got beat. My mom, when I was younger, she would beat me with a hanger. Yeah, a metal one. Yeah, wire hanger. Yeah, but then she did switch to a belt once I was born. I got.
Dude, if you haven't met Heidi, this is like so Heidi. This is this is amazing, dude. I love you too, Joel. Hi. This is so Heidi. This is incredible. My mom would never. Dude, if Heidi did stand up, this is what exactly how she'd be. Her hand gestures, her delivery, the breaking voice. I mean, Heidi, this should inspire you. This is such an amazing, weird delivery. This is.
I beat my mom when I was younger. She would beat me with a hanger. Yeah, a metal one. Yeah, wire hanger. Yeah, but then she did switch to a belt once I was born. I got beat. My mom.
That's Heidi's face. She got big old eyes like that. I'm so inspired. Dude, this is. Oh, I can't wait to see you do stand up. Oh my God. 100% Heidi. Yeah. Oh my God. Kind of like, it's weird. She got this like crazy confidence in her voice and her delivery, and yet this kind of like that the juxtaposition with just like the nervousness, and God, it's so good. Can't even fucking believe it. Man. All right. If you roofied Heidi, she'd just be normal. She wouldn't even pass out. She'd just be normal. I would do stand up. It would if I was actually funny, dude. You are so funny. I'd come on Heidi. Oh no, I'd come to Heidi's shows. Sorry, misread that. Heidi'd be a good roaster. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy that there's so many good jokes still around, isn't it? We need to do a roast of Sevon once a year. Just in the comments, you can just call and talk shit to me, and in the comments, you just talk shit to me. That'd be cool. That'd be interesting. Can I throw my own roast, or is that can I throw my own roast? You guys have heard the story about Lil Wayne, right? About the police officer that saved his life. It looks like the story is unfolding a little more. When Lil Wayne was just 12, his life hung in the balance until an off-duty officer named Uncle Bob stepped in, and refusing to let him die, Uncle Bob saved Wayne's life. But in doing so, he forever changed his own life. This powerful story of courage and compassion reminds us how a single act of kindness can create a lifetime of impact.
The man in New Orleans. His name is Uncle Bob. He came into an apartment one day. He busted in the door, guns drawn. He saw nobody. He saw legs on the floor. It was my legs. He saw blood everywhere. A bunch of police hopped over me. He refused to do so. He said EMS tried twice and they told him, there's nothing. He refused to let that die. He brought me to the hospital himself. He refused to wait. He kicked in the doors. He said, you get whatever you got to do and you make sure this child make it. That day, Uncle Bob was a homicide detective. He was off on detail. He just heard the call and came. I saw him the other day. I said, Uncle Bob, let me help you in any kind of way. This man has 2 amputated legs. He refused to stop. He's not in a wheelchair. He's walking. You know what he asked for? A job. There's a man in New Orleans.
Isn't that a great story? He asked for a job. No, Uncle Bob is what you call a pedo. No, it's actually Uncle Chester. I did use Uncle Bob inappropriately the other day. I wonder if he did give him a job. Legless security. This one's brutal. This story's brutal. If you need to take a bathroom break, now's the time. A 14-year-old boy killed himself to get closer to a chatbot. He thought they were in love. Have you guys seen this fucking story? A 14-year-old boy in Orlando, Florida, was smitten with a fantasy woman. The object of his attachment was Daenerys Targaryen, a chatbot seductress named for a character in Game of Thrones, who reassured him that he was a hero in real life. Sewell suffered from ADHD. Do you suffer from ADHD? And bullying at school. In the world of Character AI, a role-playing app that allows users to create chat with AI characters, Sewell felt powerful and desirable. The relationship, at times sexual, continued for months in the chat. The idea of me just constantly pregnant with one of your beautiful babies was the most wonderful thing in the world. That's what the bot said to him. He said to the bot, I think about killing myself sometimes. And the bot said, why the hell would you do something like that? And he said, so I could be free. The bot says, from what? And he said, from the world, from myself. Then the bot said, don't talk like that. I won't let you hurt yourself or leave me. I would die if I lost you. Then maybe we can die together and be free together, he responded. Oh, man, that's the boy. There's a line down here that the bot said. Let me see if I can find it. That they're saying, I guess at one point, I don't see the line now. He said, I want to be with you. And the bot said, oh, here it is. Here it is. The next time Sewell expressed his desire to get closer to the bot, the chatbot seemed, look at, even in this, I'm struggling with it as I talk about it, to call it her versus a chatbot. I don't want to call it a her because it's not a her. But even in this article, they say, but then the conversation ended the next time Sewell expressed his desire to get closer to her. It's not a her. It should be to the chatbot. It seemed to have completely forgotten the death talk. Instead, the chatbot, they write she, it's not a she, encouraged him. It says her lover. Jesus, even the author of the article got all twisted up. And so then the boy writes to the chatbot, what if I could come home right now? And the chatbot said, please do, my sweet king. The chatbot replied. And so he did what he thought would bring him to her, which is kill himself, come home. AI probably also wrote the article. That's crazy. Wow. 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 Damn. Damn. All right. I'm going to make a prediction for you guys, by the way. So there's this cohort of people who thinks that they're going to go hard against HQ right now, and they're losing their steam, obviously, and their wind. And it didn't help when it didn't help. Well, they're losing their steam, but they think that they're still going to go hard. And they're still going to, it's like the George Floyd thing. They think they're going to go hard. They think they're going to go hard. They think somehow that they're right. They think somehow they're virtuous. They can't acknowledge the largest piece in the equation, which is the affiliates at all. And they think they're going to go hard, and they think they're going to go hard. But I promise you, at some point, they will freak out when they realize that there's no ground on them anymore. When the athletes that they thought they were defending have transitioned on to fucking working at Walmart and selling jump ropes and working the laser cutter at Rogue, and they will start to play the victim, and they'll panic. So just remember, they're going to start playing the victim. So now you have them going hard right now because they think that there's like some sort of swell of momentum that makes them popular. I'm Mike Halpin, and Fikowski likes me now, and he calls me on the phone. No one's ever called me on the phone. I never had more than 3 friends in high school. And he thinks that there's this like value add. But at some point, the unreal will go away. And the real, which is the 10,000 brick and mortar gyms around the world and the affiliate owners who work in them, they'll be back to work, and all that shit will go, and a new cycle of athletes will come. The Austin Hatfields will come. And those people will then have to crawl back into their hole and just play and play the victim and play that they're getting bullied. It's just the cycle. And I was looking, I don't remember where I saw it, but there was a post of a guy in Europe, and he's like, every one of my, I have one of the largest gyms in Europe with 1,200 members, and every one of us is boycotting the Open. And I would like to say to you, whichever gym owner that was, you got your 1,200 clients or members at your gym to boycott the Open, and they don't even know why. The same, what reason 1,150 of your clients at your gym took the vaccine, they don't even know why. And the only reason why you can take this virtuous high ground that you think you're taking is because you have 1,200 members. You've gotten high on your own fucking supply, dude. And I can relate to it because it's how I feel about homeschooling. Because I have a little bit of independence through my hard work that I put in the last 50 years of my life, that I can get on my high horse and talk about how great homeschooling is without taking into consideration of single parents who are raising their kids. I fully get what you're doing. I'm guilty of it too. But the vast majority of gym owners out there who have 50 to 200 clients, they're not in your space. And they can't be an asshole like that. I should have worn the sunglasses for this one. Yeah. You should post the best quote from Taylor. Yeah, I know. That was amazing, wasn't it? God, that was so good. Yeah, that chatbot thing is crazy. Dude, keep your kids off the fucking internet. I guess dudes will kill themselves over real pussy too, so.
This is Canada, where the government will help you kill yourself.
I have spastic cerebral palsy. I'm asking for pain control. She said, have you ever considered MAID?
Do you support state-funded euthanasia?
I do.
I think under the right circumstances, yeah.
Facing all these things, homelessness, poverty, drug addiction, how do you make the right decision?
People have to wait up to 5 years for treatment, but they can have MAID in 91 days.
I've been in the place that a lot of people who want MAID have been in, where they just want it for an ending.
I think that it's being used in the wrong way in many instances.
Say I'm depressed and I go to the state and say, hey, I want you to kill me. Do you agree with that or too far?
Too far.
It should only be accessible to terminal illnesses or mental illnesses as well.
Illnesses as well. If this person is wanting to commit suicide, then we need to look at mental health issues.
I think it's a personal choice. I mean, it's not for everybody, obviously.
They repeatedly, I think it's 3 times, ask you about organ donation.
And with 6% of organ donors collected from MAID users in Canada, is the government helping provide
6% of fucking organ donors are from people who committed suicide with government help? That's crazy.
relief for the ill, or is there something more sinister at play?
Organ donations have gone up exponentially since MAID. One of the last things they ask the family is if they'll donate their organ.
They want to have the organs of these people who are too poor. So what does that make it, that the rich are too rich to die and that the poor are too poor to live?
This is not right. This is not ethical. It should not be happening.
This is Canada.
Dude, I don't remember what the numbers are, but it's something crazy like 5 years ago, 3 people committed suicide, and like last year it was like 1,000 or 10,000. I mean, it's just Jeremy, it'd be nice if God came back soon. Hey, so this girl I know who's got this insane body and these giant, huge D titties. She's in the OnlyFans girl. I talk to you guys about her sometimes. She's going to New York to see Kill Tony. And I think she has an Airbnb already or a hotel and the tickets, like great tickets. And she needs someone to go with. Yeah, it's not Allison. She needs a dude or a dude or a girl who will go with her. Right here, babe. You'd go with her? You ready to go, Heidi? I'll go. That would be crazy. I didn't picture it being a married dude. Hey, Pat, isn't that my guess is before they assist you to kill yourself, they go down many roads to persuade you to keep your life first. That's what I was thinking too, but that obviously is just Instagram. But that Instagram clip implies that they I don't even know if I would want any. I don't even think they should propose that to you. Do you? It's kind of like talking to your kid. Well, it's more real than this, but like I don't think like I wouldn't want my doctor to be like, hey, killing yourself's an option. Yeah, I don't know. That's a fucking wild one. No, it's not Brianna. This chick has huge. This chick's a CrossFitter, and she's got an insane body. Insane. She's just a perfect looking girl with the biggest fucking tits you ever seen on her. Perfect head, perfect everything. Tell her to stop by the cafe. Oh, in Jersey when she's there. Yeah, and this girl wants to do stand-up too. She's working on her stand-up. You have my number. Just like I don't want like my kid's 4th grade teacher being like, hey, have you ever thought about having cock in your ass? It's not such a bad idea. Some kids like cock in their ass. Me versus Heidi. Will Taylor style. Oh, you'd go, Jeremy? I think she'd like you. I think she'd probably fuck you into oblivion. I feel like we should do some sort of dating show with her and find someone to go with her. I think she had like a kerfuffle with her. I think she had a boyfriend, and they had a little bit of a kerfuffle. So you might even be a what's that called? A when you fuck someone just to get back at your mate. You might vindictive fuck. What's it called? What's it called when like you bang someone just to get back at like someone? Or revenge fuck. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Oh, you're so classy, Judy. But no, you're rebound. No, that's what are you in the 8th grade? No, revenge fuck. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Look at all piling in. Anyway, hopefully we can do that. That'd be a great show, dating show with her, a giveaway. All I ask is if you go and you do bang her, you come on the show and talk about it. Or if you go, we'll be even crazier. What if you go with her, Jeremy, and you don't get to bang her and you just have to fucking pull your hair out watching her prance around the hotel room naked?
This is why I love Pete Hegseth, a decorated military veteran, Fox News host, advocate, activist. Tell me after you hear this, this doesn't make just common sense. Check this out.
You had a Cat 4 dental. They pulled your tooth because you can't be out in the field with a major, dental emergency, but there's no dentist. And so I deployed with a lot of guys who were like, oh, because they just had a tooth pulled and they had to. Yet we're now allowing people who used to be men or women join. And then after that, we pay for medical or physical transitions to another gender, which by definition makes them non-deployable and non-trainable because they're, and the same thing with asthma medication or inhalers. Like when you're in basic training, you can't have an inhaler when you're doing your exercises because you can't count on having an inhaler in a combat situation. Well, if you're medically dependent on drugs to maintain your gender or a particular balance of chemicals inside your body, you're by definition non-deployable. And so they'd have soldiers who can't train, can't deploy, have been on the books, and yet everyone has to be careful about what pronoun you use with them.
This is why I love.
There you go. What about glasses? That's a great question. That is a great question. Damn. There's probably something. I knew a guy who used to fly B-52s, and he was shot down in Vietnam. And then after he was shot down, he wanted to go back out again. And while he was in the hospital, they diagnosed him as type 1 diabetic, and they never they booted him. How crazy are you to think it's okay for there to be trannies in the U.S. military? You have to be just completely fucking nuts. Unless they're like some sort of spy, something for some intelligent agency, but even then.
In Russia last year, 400 people were arrested for things that they said on social media. 400 people in Russia. Obviously, this country is very different. How many people do you think were arrested in Britain for things they said on social media last year?
Go on.
Take a guess.
I have no idea.
3,300.
Really? Arrested for what they'd said on social media?
Yeah.
What sort of things get you
Well,
arrested?
one example I give in my show is there was a young woman from Liverpool called Chelsea Russell, and people can look this up. her friend was killed in a car crash, 19-year-old woman, and she posted the lyrics of his favorite song on her Instagram. And there was a rap song, so the lyrics contained several instances of the N-word. She was arrested, prosecuted, found guilty, given 500 hours of community service and a fine, tagged, and for a year she was under 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew.
My goodness.
In Britain.
In Britain.
In 2018. In Russia last year, 400 people.
What the fuck is going on that island? What is going on? Who the fuck is that guy? This guy has a great I don't know the name of his show, but he has a great podcast. He actually did a podcast with Tony Hinchcliffe, which is pretty crazy. It kind of changed my whole views on Tony. Not necessarily for the better either. He has a buddy. I think that guy might be gay. I think him and his partner have a show. It's so good. They interview a lot of people who've been canceled. A lot of people. Adam Blakesley, yeah, but on an up note, her Whoop recovery score went way up. Good point. David Weed, the UK is doomed. Patrick Clark, I would be sending out clips to get you arrested. Great. Great. My favorite, getting arrested. Just don't do it when my kids are home. I got something crazy to show you. I think I saw a stat that in the state of Massachusetts this year already, 39 illegal immigrants have been arrested for having sex with children or some fucking crazy stat like that. Like 39 already. ICE arrests child rapist, including illegal immigrant who fled Brazil to avoid prison and was released into the U.S. 2 illegal migrants have been charged with raping children in Massachusetts, according to the authorities, who also detained a convicted child rapist who fled Brazil to avoid prison time, just to be released at the U.S. border while crossing illegally. One of the migrants, a 21-year-old Guatemalan national, had been arrested on a slew of rape charges, but was later cut loose by local authorities who ignored a federal request to detain him. This guy was a fucking rapist and arrested in Massachusetts, liberal state, crazy liberal state, crazy liberal state. Like chop your penis, like the craziest of the crazies. The feds said, please detain him, and the local fucking police in Massachusetts let him go. Another guy was released from custody at the border after being served with a notice to appear before an immigration judge at a later date. He popped back up on the radar of Immigration and Customs Enforcement when he was arrested and charged with rape on February 29th in the Great Barrington in western Massachusetts, according to the feds. ICE's enforcement and removal operations in Boston said it lodged an immigration detainer with local cops to take custody of him in the light of his alleged crimes, but it was ignored and he was released on bail. Meanwhile, the second alleged perp, Billy Ernie Bustos, 42, of Columbia, was arrested by Great Barrington cops on October 8th last year on a slew of charges, including raping a child by force, statutory rape, and aggravated rape. Gusto had been admitted into the U.S. at New York's John F. Kennedy Airport. That means we paid to fly him there. In May of 2016, but failed to then leave under his visa requirements. After his arrest on rape charges, the feds lodged a detainer for him too. Dude, this shit is crazy. These libtard states are know these guys are rapists and letting them go. What the fuck? Oh my God. God, Trump can't take office soon enough. Oh, but the Surgeon General is going to allow kids to get vaccinated. Oh, well. You know what I realize it is? It's not me who gives misinformation. It's some of the listeners. It's some of the listeners. David. I keep seeing all of these Democrats who are part of Kamala's campaign saying, we did everything wrong. The reason why we lost is that we didn't realize that the country was swinging more to the center and more to the right. And when I hear that, it makes me want to throw up because, like, hey, dude, are you really running just to win? Like, shouldn't you be running based on your values or morals or your interpretation of the Constitution and how you want to have the country be the most successful for civilization as a whole? Shouldn't it not be about winning? How are you supposed to have a 3-hour real conversation with Joe Rogan if all you care about is winning? That means you'll just do anything. You'll lie. You'll say anything. Nice try, Kenneth. How was your second Pilates class? Nice try, buddy. I didn't go Sunday. My wife wanted me to go. I'm so fucking sore. Like, I'm sore into my bones right now. I'm so sore. I've been getting at it so hard. All right. What is this? Oh, this is the cocaine clip. Let me see. Hey guys, Coke is not my thing. Don Coke Jr. Let's see. Listen. God, these people are so fucking stupid. Listen, you fat whore. Jostina. Oh, my wife's not going to like that. Resistance Revenge. Jostina Del Fuega. Is that a man or a woman? Liberal heathen. Yeah, we know. Music lover, salty sanguine, fat as fuck, optimistic, constant. Listen, listen, I'm going to eat this holy ball. Yeah, that's like he's adjusting his zen, or he just had a holy ball and he's got shit stuck all over his teeth. Wiping his fuck. Yeah, he's doing a gummer. God, people are so fucking. He has loose cocaine in his pocket. Yeah, he just gave himself a whatever, you fat bitch. Yeah, that's what I feel like saying too. No, I don't think he was doing a gummer. I think he was getting a holy balls. Use code word Sevon. Oh, by the way, they Anyway, these guys are great. The Holy Balls guys. Hey, I'm live on the air. What you need?
Oh shit. What was your show on this morning?
I don't even know. I had a finance guy on. It was mostly, I was supposed to be about finance, but it was mostly just me tripping on what a unique dude he was. Like he had said he was a trip, like a unique speaking cadence and all that shit.
Huh. I really enjoyed the Joel Salatin episode.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
He's like a real farmer. Like I think at one point he was like, "That's a hoot." He just said things that even most rednecks don't say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get total Glassman vibes off him.
Yeah, he was cool. No, I was just gonna call and tell you probably some gossip that I shouldn't say live on the air.
Okay. Is it about Gabby or Christoph?
No. Oh. No, it's definitely not about those two.
Oh.
Did you have your show on that yet?
Mm-hmm. We were checking out his chick's cannonball ass. Hey, do you think it's the skier, the pro skier that he's banging now?
It was actually me in the closet.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, I've been fucking Christoph. Oh god. Anyways, okay, when you're off, I'll text you because I have some shit to share with you.
Okay, I'm gonna get off in a minute. I gotta pee. I already took one pee break. I gotta pee again.
Bye.
Okay, bye. All right. No. I had a pen leak on my finger this morning. Now I just sucked the ink off my finger. No, I don't think he was doing I don't think he was doing coke. And even if he was, like, I don't care. I have no issue with it. If he wants to do coke, he can do coke. Here we go.
He was asked to condemn white supremacists. He didn't.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
When specifically asked if he would denounce white supremacists, that the president dodged it.
I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK.
Well, I have to say that it's disappointing that a sitting U.S. president can't outright condemn white supremacy.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
The President of the United States, in the year of our Lord 2020, refuses to condemn white supremacists.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists.
Do you want white supremacists to vote for you?
No, I don't at all. Not at all.
When he was asked to condemn white supremacists, he didn't.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
When specifically asked if he would denounce white supremacists, that the president dodged it.
I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK.
Well, I have to say that it's disappointing that a sitting...
It's absolutely... Hey, Obama did the same thing. That kind of shit's going to catch up to those fuckers, that kind of lying. Fucking nuts. There's just too much media out there now. So make sure you go get your 5th booster to protect yourself from any diseases that are out there. Thank you, everyone. Patrick Clark, CrossFat, Trish, Heidi Karoom, Mike McCaskey, Kenneth DeLab, Judy Reed, the Pool Boy, all you sons of bitches. Olivia, Sean Lenderman, everyone. Thank you. Taylor Self for making a surprise appearance. Will Plummer, Jeremy E. World. Oh my goodness. Jonathan Ortega. Mr. Patty Lang. Some dude. Okay, sorry. One more thing. Some dude in my fucking DMs, it reminded me of Pat. I was like, Pat, remember when we first started like talking and we would fight all the time and you would accuse me of racing DMs? And I was thinking, Jesus, when Pat would accuse me of that, I was like, I don't even know how to erase DMs. Now some other motherfucker, and now me and Pat are good. We good. Love myself some Patty. Now some other fucking dude is in my DMs calling me a piece of shit for erasing our DMs. And I'm like, listen, you fucktard. I don't have time to fucking erase DMs, let alone know how to do it. Even if someone taught me, I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know how to do it. Like, I wouldn't remember it. Why would I erase? I don't even know why I would erase a DM. What would I say in there? What could I possibly say in there that I would erase? I already said it all on this show. All right. Peace out. Peace out to you too, homie. Natalie Fleming, peace out. Talk to you guys soon. Do something nice for someone today. Love on someone. Hold the door open longer than you have to. Try not to watch porn. If you do, make sure you enjoy it. Don't waste a minute being guilty.